¡Hey! ¿Qué pasa, familia? ¿Cómo va la cosa? How you doing, homies? Aquí estamos live, en directo, aquí de nuevo, un episodio más, aquí en PALIQUEO Creep. Aquí estamos en medio de la unión, aquí en Málaga, aquí representando un poquito. Aquí tenemos hoy, como ya os recordé la semana pasada, un par de invitadas nuevas que tenemos aquí de nuevo a nuestra gran Maggie, que por cierto, tengo que felicitarte, Maggie, porque eres el primer reel que alcanza las 5.000 views. No sé por qué, pero bueno, eso es una migaja para ti, yo lo sé eso, pero bueno. No. Pero, y aquí tenemos a la gran estrella esperada, que yo llevo detrás de ella ya bastante tiempo, que es Nesh, que es una chica que yo, la verdad, admiro mucho porque llevo bastante tiempo mirando un poco el contenido que hace. Y ella, como te comentaba, yo quiero hacer lo que tú haces, que es, bueno, generar algún tipo de seguimiento donde yo pueda después proporcionar clases ya para la gente que realmente le interese y que está dispuesta a pagar por las clases, pues de ahí conseguir un poquito más de seguimiento, ¿no? Y de clientes al final. Sí. Pero bueno, como sabéis, voy a introducir un poco, para que ya sabéis todos, este podcast está pensado para aprender y practicar español e inglés y demostrar que se puede aprender en cualquier situación. Cualquier tema es algo que se puede usar para aprender cualquier idioma. No penséis que por saber poco os va a resultar imposible, porque para saber mucho hay que saber poco. O sea, hay que seguir ese orden. Y entonces hoy tenemos preparados como unos 12 temas. Vamos a intentar cubrir tantos como podamos. Tampoco tengo mucha presión por cubrirlos todos, pero iremos saltando de una cosa a otra y veremos dónde nos lleva. That's the magic of doing things live, because you never know where you're going to end up in. Entonces, Nesh, ¿puedes presentarte tú, si quieres, en español o en inglés, decir un poco tu historia?
En Spanglish.
En Spanglish, como te sientas más cómoda tú.
Vale, yo soy Nesh. I'm Nesh. I just started saying that I'm an online creator because before I didn't used to say that I'm a creator online. But mainly I'm an English teacher. I'm also a Spanish teacher sometimes. And I also taught French to little kids.
Yo vi que tú hablas inglés, español, italiano, francés y un poco de portugués.
Un poco, muy poco de portugués y filipino porque soy de Filipinas.
Filipino es increíble, tío. Pero bueno, cuéntame tu historia. Pero tú viniste de Filipinas, te mudaste a Irlanda, ¿con qué edad?
Con 11 años.
Con 11 años. Con el critical period. Entonces tú tenías ahí un poco la mente todavía abierta.
Era un poco difícil porque tenía mis amigos en Filipinas, toda mi vida ahí, otra vez hacer amigos, entonces era un poco difícil para mí.
Claro, pero tu filipino...
Tagalo.
El tagalo, eso es, perdón. El tagalo, ¿lo mantienes o lo perdiste? Lo perdiste, ¿no?
Sí, perdí un poco. Ahora lo hablo bastante, o sea... Puedo conversar, puedo hablar con nativos de Filipinas, pero se nota que tengo acento y se nota que me cuesta un poco.
Claro.
O sea, mis niveles ahora es inglés, español y luego...
Italiano, francés...
No, y luego filipino.
Y luego filipino, sí. Claro. Porque con tu madre y con tus padres, I guess you speak in Tagalog, ¿no?
Taglish.
Taglish, ¿no?
Es que yo soy de la ciudad y hablamos... Taglish, English and Tagalog.
Ah, curioso, Taglish.
Sí.
Claro. Y después, bueno, ya te preguntaré un poco más en detalle, pero quiero un poco saber cómo le ha ido la semana aquí a la gran estrella de los ninis. A la gran estrella de los ninis, porque mira, la semana pasada hicimos una sección sobre los ninis. No sé si tú conoces el término nini.
Los ninis, ni eso,
ni estudia ni trabaja. Exacto.
Sí.
Que estuviste tú hablando del concepto de nini en Francia y no sé por qué a la gente le ha gustado bastante con el tema de los ninis, lo que tú comentaste de que allí, bueno, depende mucho de la familia, de cómo se trata ese tipo de personas, ¿no? ¿Y cómo te fue esta semana, tío? Cuéntame un poco.
Una semana normal, creo. Con las clases, la escuela, los amigos, todo eso. Totalmente normal, nada de...
Me contó que está en una escuela de idiomas, está súper guay.
Sí, ¿en
qué?
Tiene
muchas actividades.
¿Estás dando español solo o algún otro idioma?
Francés, inglés, español, poco de hindi.
¿Y has avanzado un poco con tu libro o qué? Porque no te he contado que ella escribe Magic Realism, Realismo Mágico.
Qué guay.
after giving the definition of magical realism, I realized that it was so shitty the definition that I gave.
Listen, don't worry about that because I have a whole segment based on that, so that you can expand a little bit about the concept of magic realism and everything. So don't feel bad about that.
I kind of panicked a bit.
Te sentiste a gusto la semana pasada, ¿no? Un poquito.
No como una semana normal.
Te traigo un par de temas que yo creo que te pueden interesar esta semana, que están interesantes. One of the topics that I have that I think you're going to enjoy, because you brought up two topics, which was self-awareness and building habits, right? Mm-hmm. So the first one is self-awareness, the one I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Self-awareness. Okay. Le voy a preguntar a Marie, porque Marie, para ti, what does it mean to be self-aware in general, and what does it mean to be self-aware when you're learning a second language?
I'd say be self-aware in general is like seeing where I'm wrong, seeing where I'm right, seeing what I do, like being conscious of.
Exactly.
Like kind of seeing me on the outside and telling myself, I'm doing this, it's good, it's bad, I shouldn't, I should, all that. And when learning a new language, self-awareness is really annoying because
it's really presence, right?
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, especially in the context that I am right now, because I am learning Spanish in school, which means that I talk only to my teachers in Spanish, and the truth is that I don't know many people, like Spanish people that I can talk to.
Sorry, Maggie, can you get closer to the mic? Because the other week, I noticed that your voice was it was hard to notice because you speak very softly, so it's better if you get closer. I can always pump up the volume later on, but it's better if you get closer.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Do I just like rewind for?
Yeah, no, just say whatever you're.
So when you learn, because when I learned English, it was like total immersion. I was in a school where people only spoke English. We were not like learning English. It was like everyone knew English and I had to speak it. And I was in a family too, so I was like in all the people that I knew, literally no one spoke French. I had to speak English with them. So that's how I grasped kind of the language. But here it's very different. So I speak Spanish. I'd say like I speak good Spanish when I write, and then when I talk, I realize at the same time what mistake I'm making while I'm speaking, and I don't know, a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Listen, that's one of the main issues for Spanish people as well when they're learning English. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed, because here we tend to have a lot of grammar, a lot of reading comprehension, and even writing. We could say that Spanish people, I mean, if you went all the way to college, you might have a pretty decent level of English writing. But when it comes down to speaking and regular conversation, Spanish people really struggle to feel confident and to find the right words. Because, mira, para mí la forma es simplemente vivir cosas en inglés. Ese es el gran problema, porque la gente asocia el inglés y aprender una segunda lengua a lo académico y a aprender, ¿no? reglas, which is not a bad idea because you settle with the basic stuff, you figure out the basic stuff, you know how the language works, pero después a la hora de comunicarte tienes que conseguir esa confianza se consigue a través de la comunicación. Claro. ¿No? Tú seguramente te lo habrás encontrado mucho con tus alumnos, ¿no?
Sí. Es que en España se enfoca mucho en el reading y writing y nada de listening y speaking. Y me sorprende muchísimo que en bachillerato no lo evalúan, el speaking y listening.
No lo evalúan. Pero bueno, bachillerato y college, it's getting there too. No es algo, it's not something really essential to get, maybe it's like 10% of the final grade.
Like at least me, when I studied French in high school, we had an oral and an oral.
Exactly.
So I think it's really important to evaluate that as well, because like it's not just reading and writing, and actually in real life we speak and listen more than we read and write.
In real life, para mí, real life is 90% speaking and listening.
Exactly.
It's the other way around, because in Spain, in France, I think it's sort of the same too. They teach you to get a job, to find a good job, and to maybe to sell yourself in a job interview. and to provide a good level of proficiency in whatever field you want to specialize in. Pero después, cuando tú te vas a otro país, when you go and travel, what you want to do is to socialize.
Socialize, yeah. You won't get a job either if you don't know how to communicate.
Exacto.
So the thing that's interesting that you mentioned was that you have to live the language.
Live language, yes.
That's why my username is live and speak English.
Live and speak English.
because
I love it.
Hay que vivir el idioma para
Mira,
hablarlo.
Nesh, es que muchas coincidencias. Porque mira, yo trabajé en una language school que se llamaba Speak and Live.
Speak and live.
Speak and Live in
Okay.
Rincón de la Victoria, which is like 20 kilometers away from here. It's a town next to Málaga, on the beach. So it was a weird mix between a language school and a touristic, let's say, an organization to providing just activities, yeah, touristic activities and stuff.
Yeah.
So they hire people to both with the purpose of teaching English and socialize and make them have a good time. It's just show them around the city.
It's like your school. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so my goal was I took people out for lunch and show them around the city, but in English, and we spoke English the whole time. Talk about life, kind of this thing, but
that's
standing.
my kind of academy. That's my kind of language school. Like
hay academies así, hay escuelas así. Lo que pasa que claro, especially, but the thing is, this was years ago because I don't teach anymore. Now I do other kind of job. I got into computer stuff now. I do computer integrations, but just because I don't know, I just got tired of trying to get new students every time. Yeah. But if I could manage to do what you're doing, maybe I would rethink the whole thing, because this is what really pumps me up. Because what I love about teaching is prepping the contents. Analyzing what people really need. That's why I love doing this podcast, because this way I can know, this video was interesting, people didn't like this video or whatever. Then you get the feedback from people, and then you provide them whatever they need. Y para mí los Reels y los YouTube, I tend to enjoy more YouTube, more so than TikTok and Instagram.
I'm trying to get into YouTube, but it's a lot of hard work.
It is because it's long form video.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pero yo me gusta más long form. A mí me gusta más long form video. Sí. Porque puedes meterte más en las cosas y tal, ¿sabes?
Más en detalle y...
Your TikToks are amazing because it's like in a gist, in a boom, boom, boom. It's really fast-paced, boom, dynamic. I love that. But the thing is, if you want to like dig deeper into things...
Exactly. I'd love to. Actually, I have a course, and I send them long videos, like 12 to 20 minutes, explaining, pronunciation or phrasal verbs, collocations, anything. And of course, it's more into depth, because in TikTok or Instagram, you can't really, master a language by just watching a 15-second video.
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, you got plenty, because you got what was it, like over 300, 400 videos or something?
On Instagram?
On TikTok and Instagram.
No,
a whole bunch,
like
¿no?
300, 500.
Porque tú llevas desde 2020, ¿no?
2020, diciembre de 2020.
2020.
Entonces,
Está
2 años y pico.
2 años, sí, con la pandemia. La pandemia ha salvado muchas vidas, ¿eh? Y ha creado mucho trabajo la pandemia.
Claro. Mucha gente dice que han perdido trabajo, pero los inteligentes, los listos, hemos creado
el trabajo. Bueno, nos hemos reciclado para poder trabajar al final, ¿no? Porque es lo importante, reciclarse al final. Claro. Bueno, y nada, lo del self-awareness, ¿no? Eso era un poco lo que quería comentar. Y después tenía yo aquí una cosa que quería comentar sobre el self-awareness, que es, pues eso, cómo ser más consciente de ti mismo, ¿no? How to be more self-aware and what it can provide you with, ¿no? Porque hay gente que no distingue entre... There are two types of self-awareness. The public self-awareness and the private self-awareness. Pero para mí, in order to be good at showing yourself publicly and being self-aware in public, you need to master private self-awareness. Tienes que controlar el tema de saber, being aware of your own feelings and emotions in the moments. Okay. If you cannot control and be aware of those feelings and those thoughts, and for example, your reactions, por ejemplo, tú dices algo que a mí no me gusta, Marie. A lo mejor tú dices algo que a mí I get mad, I get really mad, and I get...
Te odio.
Claro, tú me dices te odio, digo, and I get really pissed off, and I say, ¿pero qué te pasa a ti? Porque y yo me enzarpo. Hay una expresión en español que es enzarparse, que es como to get really mad, you know? Get what's the English equivalent for that? There's got to be one for that.
Lose your mind.
Lose your
Lose your temper.
Lose your temper.
Yes.
No, but I'm sure that because
There's probably like an idiom.
There's probably like an idiom for that too. Because mira, ¿tú conoces a Youglish?
Youglish, yes.
I love Youglish.
And play phrase.
Play
you know
phrase. I love all of those. Listen, I got whole playlists of I got like whole list of websites like that because I love like language. Esto se llama language in context.
Exactly.
Language in context es como poner palabras en contexto y frases y puedes escucharla en vídeos reales, in real videos.
Yeah.
So like Youglish.
So they're authentic use instead of being like in a book, in a sentence, you know, like.
Exacto. Yeah.
So,
Youglish. What is this? No. Youglish. This one. Hay una que también, Youglish está también para español. Por ejemplo, si tú te interesa más aprender palabras en contexto, en español también lo hay. Que está por aquí.
Ahí al final.
Al final, ¿no? Spanish.
Yeah.
So like you say, enzarparse. Which, now that I think about it, you probably are not going to find anything with this word.
Yeah, I was
because
thinking.
It's a very...
Maybe it's you'll find it conjugated.
Exactly, enzarparse, que va, no, es que es muy...
Me enzarpo, no estoy enzarpo.
No, es muy coloquio, es muy coloquial.
Muy específico
Muy
también.
específica. Pero no, mira, es que no, I don't want to go too crazy with this because otherwise we're not gonna be able to go into the topics. Pero bueno, básicamente es eso, el ser consciente de tu propio sentimiento y tus propias reacciones. Y entonces cuando eres capaz de controlar tus propios sentimientos, entonces you can apply that self-awareness to real life with people. Y eso es como una cosa que yo creo que es interesante, ¿no? Para esto. Y, for example, with your students or in your classes, Marie, do you notice like when you are trying to express yourself in Spanish, you are really self-aware and you think you're going to be really ashamed of making mistakes?
Not ashamed because like usually what we do is that like we have an exercise and I know what kind of sentence I'm supposed to say and in what context. So for example, right now we're doing the whole like if I was that I would have done something like that.
Yeah, the conditionals and stuff, right?
Sí.
Condicionales.
Y todo eso, por ejemplo, si estuviera en tu lugar habría hecho eso.
Con el subjuntivo, ¿no? En español, ¿no? Sí.
Complicado.
Complicado, son los más difíciles. Sí.
Tenemos lo mismo en francés, pero
no se usa tanto, ¿no?
En francés hay verbos que son lo mismo en subjuntivo y en infinitivo también, y entonces muchas veces no sabemos que usamos el subjuntivo al lugar del infinitivo.
Bueno, tampoco los españoles saben que están utilizando
claro, no somos conscientes del uso.
So in class, I'm not that self-aware. I know what I'm supposed to say, and usually I do the whole thing where like that sentence is going to be for me. She's going to ask me for that sentence because she's doing like a whole tour of the table. So I get myself ready. I do it perfect. It's fine. But then when I have to speak Spanish...
Claro, y tú te has encontrado casos, I'm going to ask you a specific question here. ¿Te has encontrado casos en los que hay alguien que comete muchos errores pero es very self-confident, que es muy seguro de sí mismo? Eso te lo has encontrado, ¿no? Compañeros o así que cometen muchos errores pero aún así son seguros.
En francés, en español, en inglés también.
Pues esa gente son los que más rápido avanzan.
Sí,
exactamente.
Creo que sí.
Esos son los que más rápido avanzan.
Y adoro esa gente.
Mi problema es que aprendí inglés antes de aprender español y entonces ahora para mí es más difícil aprender español.
Claro. Pero bueno, tenés 21. Estás todavía en your late critical period right there.
Claro,
eso es un poco, ¿no? Pero que va. Pero
si mi compañera de piso es así, comete errores, pero no le da igual, ¿sabes? Y entonces así avanza.
¿Española o...?
Es turca.
Es turca, sí.
Y está aprendiendo español.
Ok.
Sí, y inglés también hablamos un poco.
Hay que echarle cara. Mira, una expresión que es echarle cara. Echarle cara. It's like to be cheeky about it. To be, you know, to not be scared. Echarle cara al asunto. Mira, de hecho, tenía una sección que si quieres podemos comentarla, que son sobre slang and collocations, de hecho, que tenía una en español que tenía esta, mira. A ver, porque estoy seguro de que habrá muchas que nunca habréis escuchado vosotras, que es, por ejemplo, con colores, expressions con colores. A ver si os sabéis... ¿Tú sabes alguna expresión con colores en español?
En español no. En francés.
En francés, dime una en francés. A ver.
Tengo que...
Sí, o sea, si te sabes alguna. Sí.
En francés,
Sí.
for example, to get like bottle green, it's like really, I'm about to throw up green.
Ah, okay.
We say that.
¿Cómo? ¿Qué significa?
That you're about to throw up.
Oh,
like green as a bottle or bottle green.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's we
Green
say
as a bottle. Okay.
Yeah.
Green as a bottle. Okay.
Vert bouteille.
¿Cómo?
Vert bouteille.
Vert bouteille, ok.
Vert
Estoy
bouteille.
aprendiendo.
Okay.
Yo
Yo
me lo
francés.
apunto.
Yo francés cero. Je ne parle français.
Sí.
Pero...
Botella verde es lo que significa.
Pero mira, no, para eso en español se diría echar la pota. Echar la pota es como throw up, to puke, echar la pota. Pero tenemos varias para poner... Mira, por ejemplo, hay una que es muy interesante que es ponerse morado. Ponerse morado, to get purple. Eso es to eat a lot, to... What do you say in English? It's binge eating. To binge up. Ponerse morado.
Morado.
No sé por qué. ¿Cómo están? Es
Morado,
como...
like purple.
Purple, to get purple. It's like to eat so much so fast that you get purple. Ponerse morado. O hay otra que es la media naranja. La media encontrar a tu media naranja. Esto sabes lo que es, ¿no?
Sí, sí, eso sí. You're half orange.
Es la persona perfecta para mí.
Exactly. Es como de hecho, last week we talked about that, finding the twin soul. I actually made a reel about that. Encontrar la pared, porque según
Your soulmate,
tu
¿no?
soulmate,
Your soulmate.
finding your soulmate, encontrar la alma gemela. Porque para Marie es todo eso, la persona, ¿no? Hablamos, ¿no? De que era un poco enamorarse de la persona, no del sexo ni del género
Claro.
ni nada.
Es lo mismo
Porque
para mí.
al final es todo la persona, los valores internos de cada persona, ¿no?
Sí,
Eso
sí.
es lo que te enamoras.
Claro, claro. Por algunas personas es así. Sí.
Para
Después-
mí es así, para otra persona.
Sí, yo descubrí hace poco que es para mí también, sí.
Descubriste que eres...
Sí, estaba en terapia y me dijo, y sí, como descubrimos algo
Sí.
y me dijo, pues, creo que eres demisexual, que es como te enamoras de la persona y de la personalidad.
Hold on, but isn't that pansexual?
Pansexual is like you like everyone.
You like everything.
It
A little
doesn't
bit.
matter.
Okay.
But I think demisexual is more about the person himself or herself.
All right,
Like the
all right.
personality.
Hold on. Let's take one thing at a time because I have another section exactly about that. I got a couple of articles about that. We'll go deeper later on about that because that's really interesting to me. Especially because I got really, talking with you last week really got me thinking about that,
You're
about
welcome.
that topic, and I thought this is really cool to talk in a podcast. And then I researched a little bit about, because I didn't know. I knew that there were, it's a big thing, genders and gender identity and all that stuff. But I didn't know how detailed the information is about describing those things.
Yeah.
I think it's like
It's a really
not-
complicated
Yeah,
topic.
it's not an opinion, and that's why like any person you meet will have like a different feeling
Yeah.
about that. So we're all like, it's not like an opinion you give, or you're like, I agree, I don't agree. It's
Yeah.
more.
I've
guess
decided
deeper.
recently that I just don't want to call myself anything.
Anything? Yeah. Okay, listen.
I like what I like.
You know what?
It's
Mira,
fine.
you know what? Let's go. Forget about slang. Let's go into the nitty gritty here. ¿no?
Okay, nice.
Vamos a por eso, porque lo tenía ahí, pero vamos.
Pues nada,
vamos a
hablamos
por
de
ello,
eso.
sí. Si eso después volvemos, porque we can always talk about slang.
Of course, yeah.
You see, I love like this stream of consciousness style when you are in the podcast, because
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta go with whatever you're more comfortable in
course.
at the moment. At the moment,
Yeah.
so mira,
Self-awareness.
Exactly, self-awareness. Gender identity. Here it is. So here, look. Okay.
University employment application.
Look at this. Esto es una lista Lo voy a representar. Esto, vamos a hablar de el género, la identidad de género y los distintos géneros que existen. Okay, so you got gender fluid. Eso es una que es que tú vas variando, ¿no? Vas variando dependiendo del momento de tu vida, ¿no? You keep changing depending on whatever moment you're in your life and depending on the person, ¿no? Your people you're around.
I think
¿no?
it's more like what you feel, not the person you're attracted to.
Okay.
I think that's the difference between gender and sexuality, because gender is how you identify yourself and sexuality is who attracts you. Because like if we think of what's his name? Bruce Jenner going to what's her name now?
Bruce Jenner.
I like
the Kardashians,
I'm
the
very
Kylie
cultured
Jenner and
about
Kylie Jenner's dad.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Caitlyn Jenner. Yes.
Caitlyn. Yeah.
So she is a woman, but she's still attracted to women. She was a he before. So like her identity, her sexual identity, her gender identity is that she's a woman. She feels like a woman, so she's a trans woman. But her sexuality is heterosexual.
Yeah, sure. You gotta. There's a difference in those two things.
Yeah, it's really confusing. That's all I know about it.
No. Yeah, that's key. I mean, that's I think the most complicated thing for people to grasp. It's the difference between who you feel attracted to and what you physiologically
exactly,
are
because we live in a heteronormative world, so we only relate girl. If you're a girl, you should like a guy. If you're a guy, you should like a girl.
Claro. Yo creo que por eso viene todo el tema de la polémica con todo esto.
Claro.
Porque a ti te dicen, oye, look at this. Bueno, y esto es una lista corta, pero mira, es que tengo aquí, ¿no? Tengo aquí que mira, vas a flipar. Tengo aquí este otro, que mira, tengo aquí una lista increíble, mira. Here, anatomical sex, cisgender, transgender, cishet, non-binary, intersex, genderqueer. Entonces, es como, hay una lista entera de non-conforming, like, for example, like, I never heard of that, or non-conforming. Non-conforming, I think it's like, como creo que es como algo así como that you don't conform with whatever sex you're given at birth, you know? So you wanna rebel against that or something, I don't know. Pero es como, claro, porque para la gente que tiene esos sentimientos y esa forma de entender el sexo y la atracción sexual, pues supongo que es importante ponerle un nombre a eso, ¿no?
Sí.
So how did you figure it out? So you talked to your therapist about it?
Yeah, I recently I've gone to therapy a few times now, and we just discovered, because I need this connection with someone to be able to do any activity, sexual activity with them. So I need to be connected to that person. Like I can't just like go on a one night stand, for example.
Yeah.
So
okay, hold on, but that doesn't have anything to do with gender orientation, right?
It has nothing to do with gender, but it has to do with sexuality, because it's who I'm attracted to, not who I feel.
Okay.
Like I think my gender is cis woman, because I was born a woman and I feel like a woman.
Okay.
And I don't want to change my gender at all. But then I'm attracted to girls and sometimes boys.
Yeah, sure. Because it depends on exactly what you were talking about last week. Those things that person has to offer.
Exactly.
That's what you fall in love with. You don't fall in love with the sex of that other person or anything like
not
that.
What they have down there, or not anything, you know. So it's
but of course, you do feel a physical attraction towards whatever they got going on, no? Claro.
Yeah, but more the person.
See, that's what really I think it's hard for people to understand, because that physical, because I guess people can understand that you feel attracted to the values of that person, the way that person handles themselves, the way they face certain situations, their intellectual world, whatever. Those all that list, I think it's easy for people to understand. But when it comes down to physical stuff, I think people would go, okay, if you are attracted physically to a man and a woman, then it means you're bisexual. That's it. There's nothing else.
But there is.
Dig in, yeah. That's what people. I'm trying to get into the shoes of those people that don't understand, everything about this.
But then there's pansexual, and then I don't really know anything about that, so I'm not gonna speak.
Claro, claro.
I think at some point, whether you belong or not, like to the LGBTQ plus community, you can be in the shoes of the person who will not understand the other person.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea what's going on. So
Yeah.
most of the time I'm just like rolling with all those sexualities, people
Yeah, just
who
respect
like I
people.
just
Yeah.
they tell me something, take it, okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. One thing that you brought up that I think is worth looking at is labeling, because I agree that this whole labeling thing is getting out of hand. It's too much. Es demasiado.
Why I'm like, what am I? Am I bi? Am I?
Porque yo creo que como el sistema, the whole system, wants to, I think, put too much importance on naming, on the naming scheme.
And I've read recently that us as human beings, we like to label, we like to name things.
Makes
So
you
that's
understand better, right?
Exactly.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think that has to do with the will to organize reality, because that's another topic. Is because you want to have control. Control gives you a peace of mind, porque tú quieres controlar todo,
Claro.
¿no? People want to control their surroundings. Tú te sientes más seguro.
Sí.
Entonces al final.
Pero también hay problema cuando tú no sabes qué label coger, ¿sabes?
Claro.
Entonces es otro problema.
You feel lost.
You feel lost.
In that sense.
Yes, exactly. So.
Yeah, because like if there isn't a word for you in the dictionary, then what the fuck is going on, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't really
There's
care.
two sides to it. It's like it gives you seguridad, or it gives you're lost.
Claro,
So,
exactamente.
So.
Y después al tema de whatever you feel when you are born and whatever you develop later on. Porque claro, hay también una polémica ahí con el tema de que la gente dice, no, con lo que seas, naciste con ello. So whatever you feel, that's what you probably felt like from the very beginning. The only difference is that maybe you came to realize later on, you know, whatever you're feeling. ¿Tú qué opinas tú de eso, Marie? ¿Tú crees que tu orientación sexual se define en el nacimiento o piensas que se desarrolla más tarde en la vida?
As for me, maybe it's always been there. I have no idea. I realized it later, and when I was younger, it really didn't occur to me that there could be some other possibilities, that there could be something. Obviously, I knew there were other possibilities. I knew you could be attracted to women, you could be attracted to men, you could be both. Like there was all of that, but my parents don't really care, but I still grew up with the whole like princess.
Yeah.
You're a boy, you get with a girl,
okay.
I'm the same.
So,
you get into
like,
the whole Disney thing.
Yeah, and the thing is that I had always felt attraction towards like the opposite gender until I met my girlfriend, which was like almost 3 years ago, and I was like, what's going on? Yeah. So as for me, I have no idea if I was like born like that, if I just, or if it came later, or if it's just, I have no idea, and I think. Because I realized a little before meeting my girlfriend, actually, like, because I read a book one day and it was like
I read a book one day and
I had like a revelation. No, it's a book about that girl who like writes a blog to get over her breakup with her boyfriend because he goes to live far away and stuff like that. And she meets a girl and then she starts like getting feelings for that girl, so she talks about it in her blog. And she doesn't get it because she's like, I've always been attracted to men. And now there's this girl, so what do I do? What's going on? And actually, it's a French book, and there was a whole entire polemic about that because in the end, she just decides to not label herself, and she decides to not really think about it, and just like, I'm in love, then I'll go for it. And what I've seen in the reviews of that book that I loved, because then I was like, wait, maybe I might feel like that a little bit too, because. And
what age did you read the book at?
I think it was 16, maybe 15, 16.
Okay.
So like at the end she just says like, I'm sexually attracted to that particular person and that's it. And so people called that book homophobic for not saying that. They were like, yeah, the author doesn't want to say that she's bi or that she's lesbian or that
But
she's
she was
whatever.
also confused at the time.
And
So.
that's really not what I got from the book.
What's
So-
the title?
I swallowed a rainbow.
I swallowed a
Me
swallowed a
encanta.
rainbow. Vale.
Yeah,
Me tragué
it's a
un
French book,
arcoíris,
so
¿no?
you might not find it in English.
I swallowed a rainbow.
I swallowed a rainbow.
I swallowed
Shampoo. A chicken.
I swallowed
This
a rubber band.
Google,
swallowed a
las
rubber band.
sugerencias de verdad
I
son
love
los
it.
mejores.
We should make a
Sí,
segment
sí,
about
sí.
this stuff.
Yeah.
I swallowed a
A
rainbow.
rainbow.
But
Okay.
French next to it because
Okay.
it's a French. I don't think it exists in English.
Should.
Okay. French book. Let's
Yeah.
see. I guess.
No.
Let's
Google
see with Google
image.
Images. Is this any of it?
Nope.
Okay.
I think we have to type it in French.
Yeah.
Oh, in French. Okay. Was it in French?
Jota.
Género.
AI.
J.
The.
Yeah.
This
Sí,
thing?
eso.
Yeah.
A. I. Espacio.
Yeah.
A. B.
Okay. Estás deletreando en español.
V.
La V.
La
Ah.
V.
Oh, okay.
Pero no conozco mi alfabeto. A.
Okay.
L. E. Espacio. U.
Okay.
N. Eso.
Ah, eso.
El prim.
Ah, no, de
Eh,
cielo.
N.
N.
Espérate. N.
No.
Un.
Un.
Oh, un. ¿no?
Un
Okay.
arc de
Y
cielo.
arc-en-ciel.
Arc-en-ciel.
Abajo.
Abajo.
No,
Esa,
arriba,
esa.
arriba.
Oh, this
Esa.
one.
Eso.
Este. Vale. Ese sería el libro, ¿no?
Sí. Eso es el libro.
Okay.
Eso
Ah,
Este es el
cool.
libro, ¿no? Vale, pues mira, lo voy a poner aquí en la pantalla para que la gente lo vea. Si alguien quiere leerlo, aquí tenéis el libro.
Yo quiero.
Vale.
Llévale a un arc-en-ciel.
Aquí lo tenéis, ¿vale?
The vocabulary that's used is really accessible.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause
Nice.
That girl lives in the US and she writes in French, so her friends won't
way.
understand what she's saying.
Oh,
So it's not
cool.
like really big
Yeah.
vocabulary or anything.
Okay, I'll read it.
Vale, pues vamos a... Let's switch it up now. Let's go into another topic because I think this is a good segue to talk about something else, which is el poliamor. El poliamor. ¿Tú sabes lo que es, Nesh? El poliamor.
Sí, es como the opposite of monogamy, ¿no?
Exactly. Pretty much. ¿Puedes explicarlo en español para que la gente lo entienda? El poliamor.
En
un poco?
español, pues cuando estás teniendo una relación pero con varias personas.
Varias personas, exactamente.
Como una relación abierta o tener dos parejas, tres.
Exactly. So yeah, when I started researching about this, I didn't know like the differentiations and stuff, because I mean for me polyamor is just open relationships, you know. So if both parties in the couple agree that they can have sex with anyone else, so it's an open relationship.
Yeah.
But then
there's more like triangles.
exactly, I didn't know
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So and then I realized this, like,
There's a
yeah,
flag.
hierarchical and non-hierarchical. So
That's a complicated word.
eso, this is like, okay, check this out. So this is, I'm going to show here. Esto es para cuando in that couple, they both agree to have hierarchy, and it's fine for them to have hierarchy. Meaning, okay, so there's three people, right? So a guy and two girls, and the guy is having sex with the two girls, or the two girls are having sex with the guy, no? But maybe one of the girls is a priority for the guy, or you
like
know,
the main girlfriend.
or let's put it the other way: the guy is a priority for one of the girls,
Yeah.
but not the other girl. Entonces, pero it's okay for all of them, so they all know, and it's cool.
Yo no lo entiendo, la verdad,
Claro.
porque
¿Por qué? Cuéntame, ¿qué opinas tú de
porque
esto?
me sentiría, si yo no fuera la...
The third wheel, ¿no?
Sí, me sentiría la sujetabela.
Sujetabela, es muy buena, esa es
Sí,
buena en
me
español.
encanta la palabra. Sujetabela es third
Tienes
wheel.
muy buen español, ¿eh?
Gracias.
Tienes muy buen español. Pero tú cuánto tiempo, porque claro, tu español tú lo aprendiste allí,
En
¿no?
Irlanda.
En Irlanda, el
sí.
español, ¿no?
Sí,
Claro.
hice Erasmus aquí en Ciudad Real.
en Ciudad Real.
Sí,
Curioso.
Sí, todo me lo dicen.
So random, ¿no?
Pero sí, aprendí español ahí y también cuando llevo 3 años aquí, entonces.
Claro, pues se nota que te gustan los idioms y el slang,
me encanta,
¿no? Igual que
me
yo.
encanta descubrir, me encantan los idiomas
Claro,
en general.
se te
sí.
nota.
Sí, y quiero touch up on my French. Yeah.
Claro. Y entonces para ti es un ejemplo de sujetabelas, ¿no?
Sí, porque es como no está equilibrado.
¿Tú sabes
todo.
el término sujetabelas?
Yeah, we use the same
In French. Ah, oui.
Decimos tenir la chandelle.
La chandelle. Tenir la chandelle.
But
Claro.
they're like fancy, like they have the chandelle.
Yeah.
Claro,
Just
nosotros...
fancy type.
Hello.
Yeah.
Nosotros somos muy básicos,
Here's
sujetabelas.
just like la vela.
Just hold the candle, man. Like that. Y claro, para ti es eso, ¿no? Es un poco...
Claro, porque me sentiría menor, ¿sabes? O que no tengo tanta importancia en la relación.
Claro. Y porque para vosotros, para ti, Maggie, para ti el tema de las relaciones abiertas, ¿tú eso lo ves como un atraso? ¿Lo ves como que va contra natura? ¿Como que es una falta de respeto?
There isn't many things that I see that are like against nature, as long as everybody agrees with the terms and conditions of everything. It's yeah, you do your thing.
Yeah.
Like if there's no forcing anyone, if there's no like you just live your life.
Yeah.
It's none of my business. Personally, I wouldn't be able to be
Involved in this kind of relationships.
I don't think I could, because I'm really clingy.
Same.
And so like if there was like a relationship where I was not the priority, I would lose it. I would lose my shit and I'd tell you like
Claro.
what the fuck. But then
It defeats the purpose, right? I mean,
Exactly.
what's the whole point of having a relationship with someone
if you
You're the second place.
I don't know,
yeah.
it's weird. Yeah.
So,
Pero
yes,
claro,
I wouldn't do it, but if everybody is fine with it, then
Claro.
like just you be fine with it.
claro. Sí, yo también le he dado vueltas a esto, le he dado un poco de vueltas y claro, porque I always try to get into the other person's shoes, right? To say, okay, why would people want to do this, no? Pero entonces, claro, tú piensas, agreement. Because as long as there's an agreement,
exactly.
it's okay.
No, but like I take it this way: if there is one person who's like me, really clingy, like, let's say it's a 3-person relationship. There's a person like me who's really clingy. She's the priority. Fine for her. If I am like really independent, if I don't like being around everybody all the time, if I like having my time, if I like going out, if I like, you know, not ¿cómo se dice? Giving counts to anyone.
Accounting for someone.
Yeah, I think so.
¿Cómo? ¿Qué quieres decir?
Like you have no, you don't owe anything to anyone.
Give credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just like, if I want to do my thing, then let her be the priority, and then it's fine, because I don't want to be. You know, like I see it that way. I don't.
A lot of people, they don't look for serious relationships. So
yeah,
maybe
there's that too.
So yeah. Word of the day: throuple.
Throuple.
It's like a couple, but with 3 people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, throuple. Cool.
Throuple.
Throuple. I didn't
Yeah,
know
we
that.
have the.
Y otra que ha salido aquí que es buena es clingy. Clingy, guys, es cuando una persona es muy dependiente a otra persona. Podemos decir, en español podemos decir pegajoso. Fíjate, ¿eh?
Yo he aprendido lapa.
Lapa.
Como una lapa.
Eres como una lapa, tío. ¿Qué te pasa, tío? Estás como una lapa hoy.
Es que me llamaron lapa, entonces
¿A ti?
por eso
¿Sí?
lo sé.
¿Y por
Soy un poco clingy también.
Un poco clingy.
Pero no es diferente de ser independiente, o sea, dependiente.
Dependiente, sí.
Sí. Es más como soy muy cariñosa, quiero pasar mucho tiempo contigo. Digamos como clingy sería como un murciélago.
Un murciélago, claro.
Because a murciélago clings from the roof, you know, from the ceiling.
Yes, clingy, okay,
so
yeah.
it's like eres una lapa.
Claro. Attached, ¿no? Como attached, ¿no? Como,
sí, exacto.
Too attached, ¿no? I would say something.
Sí.
Algo así. En español tenemos también otra que es ser pegajoso. Pegajoso es more like what you're describing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Es que, niño, qué pegajoso estás hoy.
Sí,
qué pegajoso estás. En Málaga se dice mucho eso de niño, qué pegaoso. En Málaga es pegaoso.
Pegaoso.
Niño, qué pegaoso está hoy. ¿Qué te pasa, tío? ¿Qué es lo que te pasa hoy? Pues eso es como clingy o attached. En inglés podemos decir también.
Yeah.
Pero sí hay un poco de todo, ¿no? Después está el tema de las swingers. Los swingers. La gente que, ¿sabes? Los swingers son couples that are really bored with their sex life or whatever,
And
or their routine, and they want to go out and have sex with different people, but agreeing on that.
I saw a Spanish movie. What's it called?
¿Cómo se llama?
Más de dos.
Más de dos, sí.
Something like that. They go to a club, which is like a swinger, or I don't know.
A swinger club, yeah.
I don't know what they're
Eso en
called.
Benalmádena, Torremolinos, hay muchos clubs
They
like
exist,
that.
and I
Bueno,
was like,
claro.
what the heck?
Torremolinos, Marbella, Fuengirola,
Yeah.
todos esos. Mira, la costa, estamos aquí, ¿no? Málaga, está la costa este y la costa oeste. La costa este is the party coast. It's like the Miami of Málaga, ¿no? Y la costa este es como the retirement home. Que es donde my parents live there, actually. Yo soy de Málaga y mis padres viven en esta zona de que es Rincón de la Victoria, sí. Torre de Benagalbón, toda esa zona. Pero if you want to find swinger clubs and that kind of thing,
I'll think about it.
no, pero eso
Bring your girlfriend.
Claro, bueno, a lo mejor, claro, eso cualquiera. Pero se usa mucho para más older people, like, people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, that kind of thing. Because it's usually, when you think of swingers, people tend to think of older couples.
Okay.
Because it's people that have been in a relationship for a really long time, so they get bored. And so they want to try new stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to, I think.
Claro.
I don't think so. I haven't had the experience.
You're not 40 yet, you don't know.
Yeah.
Claro.
I never say no, like 100% to things, because you never know what's going to happen.
Claro, no, exactly. Porque that's why I love bringing up this stuff. Hay una expresión en inglés que I love, which is throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. ¿No? esa la aprendí yo.
I love it.
Esa me encanta. Es throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. Es como yo tiro cosas y después lo que salga salió. Como mira, hay una que es en español que es aliquindoi. Aliquindoi es como a lo que salga. Whatever comes. Hacer algo, mira, se dice como hacer algo aliquindoi. It's like an adverb, it's weird. Es como...
Okay.
Es
Doesn't
como,
sound Spanish, aliquindoi.
aliquindoi, it's got a funny, I love etymology and like the origin of words and stuff. Y aliquindoi, ¿sabes? Is like an expression that the British people taught Spanish people when they started coming in Spain, like in Gibraltar y todo esto. Es what English sailors taught the Spanish fishermen, meaning when they were teaching them to do stuff like, but the actual expression was look and do it. But the malagueños, los malagueños eran aliquindoi, ¿no? Aliquindoi.
Just do it.
It's like just look and do it.
Just
look and do it. It's like aliquindoi.
And it just...
It's like they
I know another word that's from that story.
¿Cuál?
Chumino.
Chumino, sí. ¿Puedes explicar eso a la gente? Chumino.
Chumino lo aprendí aquí en Málaga. Y es exactamente lo mismo. The sailmen, like from England, I think they went to Gibraltar o Cádiz, no sé dónde. And it comes from show me now.
Show me now.
So, chumino is el chocho, the vagina. Okay.
Exacto.
Nice. Sí, yeah. I've learned a lot of vocabulary.
Hey guys, you need to learn a little bit of everything every single day. You never know.
And I was like, oh, show me now. Okay, so that's another thing.
El chumino y el aliquindoi.
Aliquindoi.
Ese nunca se sabe. A mí por eso me encanta
Sí, la etimología.
Por eso a mí me gusta hablar de cualquier tema, porque nunca sabes dónde vas a encontrar una palabra nueva.
Claro.
Yo soy como una leech. Tú eres una lapa, yo soy una leech. Yo soy una leech de trying to catch as many expressions as I can.
Everything, yeah.
De todo el mundo. Pero no solo expressions. A mí me encanta sacar, por ejemplo, tú me dices el otro día los 3 booktubers that you sent me. I started looking at them and they got pretty good stuff there. And that's how I came up with one of the segments for today's show. And I think you're going to enjoy this one too.
My pleasure.
Y de hecho, bueno, vamos a cambiar. Hemos hablado del tema del poliamor. Y una cosa que quería hablar era las cultural differences between Spain and France. And in this case, well, Ireland maybe, or the Philippines, or,
Loads of cultures.
Hay muchas así interesantes. Mira, he encontrado este artículo. Voy a enseñarlo aquí. Mira, diferencias entre los países. Mira de esta. A ver si esto tú lo puedes corroborar, porque ahora que te tengo aquí, Maggie, el carácter de los franceses, porque mira, hay una cosa que los españoles dicen que los franceses, a ver, que son como muy dry, son como muy secos para el carácter español. ¿Tú qué opinas de eso?
¿En la manera de hablar o en la manera de
Sí, en la manera de tratar a la gente nueva y todo esto, ¿no?
Creo que es verdad. Depende de dónde vas, pero en la mayoría de los lugares y en París especialmente.
En París, ¿no?
La
Sí.
gente es muy ruda en París, la gente de París.
Pero claro, ¿tú crees que eso se debe a que es una big city? ¿Porque es una big city o es because
No,
it's
I think
just
they're
it's like a really
they're
French
yeah,
city?
I think it's just French. I saw,
Okay.
I saw the video, a TikTok video the other day of a girl. She was like, 5 scams you should not fall for in Paris, blah, blah, and a French guy stitched that, and he said in his video that sometimes you will like not know whether you sing trash or you sing a Parisian.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a legend, but it's real. That in Paris especially, but I think...
Yeah,
en pequeños pueblos es diferente porque...
En un pueblo, en Tours. ¿Puedes hablar en Tours cómo era la gente de Tours? Ella es de una ciudad que se llama así.
Creo normal, como si una persona necesita ayuda, vamos a ayudarla.
Claro.
Vamos a hacer lo que sea para...
A lot of people there. What's the population in Tours? Like less than a million, I guess, no?
Oh, yeah.
Less than a million.
Yeah, less than that.
Yeah, that's like, sort of like Malaga, I guess.
No, it's way smaller than Malaga.
Way smaller.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But the thing is, you have Tours, and then you have like 2 other cities that are like a different name, but they're kind of like the same.
Gotcha. Like region, no? Like
yeah, it's like you have Tours, and then Jouer-les-Tours, and then Chambray-les-Tours.
yeah, that's a very French thing too, right? Like crossing regions, like the naming for the regions is like cross mixed, ¿no?
Yeah, yeah.
Eso está bueno, pero eso siempre me ha parecido muy romántico, porque son como relaciones entre zonas geográficas,
sí,
¿sabes?
como-
En mi región, los nombres de los lugares dependen del río. Y
qué guay.
entonces, porque tenemos un río que se llama la Loira, y entonces todos esos lugares, mi pueblo no sé por qué, pero el pueblo a 5 minutos se llama Saint-Michel-sur-Loire, el pueblo de mis abuelos, La Chapelle-sur-Loire,
Sur-Loire, okay.
porque es sobre la Loire, literalmente.
La Chapelle era el sombrero, ¿cómo era Chapelle que era?
No, chapeau es el sombrero,
¿Es el sombrero?
y la Chapelle es la iglesia.
La iglesia, o sea, la Chapelle de... ¿Cómo era el nombre del sitio?
La Loire.
La Loire. La Chapelle de la Loire, ¿no? Vale, pues... oye, los ríos son muy importantes en todas las zonas.
Sí.
Aquí en España es muy montañoso, pero la verdad que es verdad, allí hay mucho río, ¿verdad?
Sí, pero
Francia.
es porque en mi región dependemos del río. Por muchas cosas, por el turismo, por todo eso.
Claro. Y otra cosa que también comparan es el terraceo. ¿Sabéis el término terraceo? Terraceo es de terraza, Nesh. De
Sí.
la terraza.
Ah, vale,
¿Sabes? Las
vale,
terrazas,
vale.
los
Claro,
bars.
sí.
Dicen, vamos, pues hay un término que se ha adaptado que es ir de terraceo. Going
qué guay.
terracing. Like going...
Vale.
Terracing.
going
Terracing.
Bueno, I just made it up, pero
Terrace.
Sí,
es
sí,
como de
sí.
terrace, ¿no? De la terraza. De la terraza. Que es just to hang... It literally means to hang out. Having beers in the
On the
daytime.
terrace.
Eso es lo que significa...
Oh, como el aperitivo.
Sí, exacto, como
Eso
going-
es
snacking, como
Ah,
ir
es
de aperitivos. Tapeo, como el tapeo, ¿también sabes el tapeo? Ir de tapeo, ¿no?
¿Y es
Em,
diferente en Francia? ¿Dice?
Dice que... porque dice que en Francia es una pequeña mesita, es como muy private in France.
A la
Pero
calle,
en
¿no?
España somos más dynamic y somos como... It's like a really crazy, like really... It's like a party atmosphere in Spain compared to this kind of things in
More private.
France. Que como que en Francia es como muy privado, ¿no? Muy... Como everybody's doing their thing quiet, pero que en España es more like everybody's standing, drinking, going, being
Yeah,
loud
that's-
and all that stuff.
That's
you
the
know?
thing we hate in France doing. Like if I'm at my restaurant, like just enjoying my food and then people around are like partying, screaming. I'd be like, can they please shut the fuck up?
Claro, porque te gusta estar en tu momento, ¿no?
Yeah, because I think usually to party we go to clubs and to hang out and drink beers or stuff. We want to talk, it's like es el aperitivo, tenemos que beber un poco, tenemos que hablar sobre todo, es una ocasión para reunirse con la familia, los amigos, todo eso, pero sin el aspecto de fiesta. Y si hay gente que hace mucho ruido,
Claro, es molesto para el resto de la gente.
Es como ir a la playa y la gente con la música así.
Música a tope.
Cuando tú solo quieres paz, mirar el mar, ¿sabes?
Exactamente. Una cosa, un reel que me gustó mucho tuyo es el de que hiciste en diciembre, que era sobre que ponías algo así como It's raining in Christmas and I thought nobody was going to see the lights. Los malagueños.
Sí.
Y pones los malagueños.
Sí.
Es como la actitud del malagueño es me da igual que esté lloviendo.
Sí, exactamente.
Eso estuvo guapo. Eso
me encanta. Eso porque guapo. Estaba lloviendo a cántaros, ¿no?
A cántaros, sí.
Estaba lloviendo a cántaros y yo pensaba que no iba a haber nadie en la calle. Y fui a la calle Larios y estaba toda la gente petada.
Está muy gracioso porque se ve ella con el paraguas en plan, los malagueños.
Sí, y bailando y todo.
Y la gente ahí tranquilito.
Sí,
le daba igual que lloviese, vaya.
Claro.
Nosotros...
¿Y tú no viste la Navidad aquí?
No, estaba en Francia por la Navidad.
Porque en Calle Larios es un show súper grande con música y la gente baila.
La gente lo da todo. Hay una expresión en español que es darlo todo, ¿sabes esta? Darlo todo. Es like give it all.
Give it your all.
Yeah. Give it your all,
Tenemos
¿no?
lo mismo en Francia. Pero la Navidad en Francia es más con la familia y creo que no hay nada mucho... There's nothing like really outside, afuera. Es más con la familia o con los amigos, depende. Pero no hay mucha gente en las calles. Es un momento privado.
Claro. Sí, no, yo la verdad, if I was to lean towards a side on that, I would go more towards the French side. Because a mí me gusta, porque I mean, as you can see, I love talking and socializing, but I like doing it like, I don't like people from the outside bothering me. So like I like doing it in a sort of controlled atmosphere. I love doing this kind of thing too. Porque sabemos un poco y tal, pero si tú estás, la gente se mete, ¿no? Cuando la gente se mete en las conversaciones, ¿eso cómo lo ves tú, Nes? Cuando la gente se mete.
Yo soy totalmente lo contrario. A mí me encanta que se metan.
Que se metan y te interrumpan y todo, ¿no?
O sea, que no me interrumpan, pero yo soy muy abierta. Si quieres unirte al grupo, no pasa nada, hablamos. Es como abriendo el network, ¿no?
Aunque sean gente desconocida y tal, ¿no?
Sí. Claro. Yo soy también, si veo a alguien... no sé, que está solo, voy a esa persona y le invito al grupo, por ejemplo. Claro.
No, eso es una muy buena manera para conocer gente en general. Es muy útil porque al final, sobre todo si quieres mejorar la lengua y meterte en la cultura, es la mejor manera.
Y me da igual, la verdad.
Sí, no, yo digo más bien gente un poco que se pone como molesto, pesada. Exacto, molesto y tal. ¿Sabes? Borracho sobre todo. Yo no bebo.
Eso sí, eso no.
Porque es el tema, yo no bebo alcohol. Entonces, claro, cuando a lo mejor si salgo con amigos y tal, si se mete gente borracha que empiezan, ¡eh! Y te agarran.
No, claro, eso es muy pesado.
¿Sabes? Ese tipo de cosas me refería yo.
Sí.
Pero no, sí, o sea, gente que venga, se meta en el grupo sin problema ninguno. Claro. De hecho, esto es esto. ¿Vale? Yo me traer gente y bueno, y cuanto más mejor. O sea, si fuéramos 5, pues mejor, ¿sabes?
Es algo que no sé cómo hacer aquí en Málaga o en el extranjero en general. Porque en Francia, si estuviera sola, la gente me quedaría sola.
Sí.
¿Cómo?
O sea, te quedarías sola si fueran...
They would leave me alone. Me dejaría sola.
Ah, claro, que te dejarían sola.
Si estuviera sola, la gente me dejaría sola y entonces... Y si estuviera como tratando de hablar con gente, creo que...
Es más difícil, ¿no?
Me respondería... they would answer me out of like politeness, but they would be like... It would just like be no, yes question and then leave.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's like
yes,
a
I
barrier.
see.
Yeah,
I found
so
that
here in Malaga, I'm kind of like, should I go talk to people, even if it's like random strangers?
You should,
Yeah.
you
I
should,
I
you should,
but
yeah.
then I'm like,
they will
who the
talk
fuck
to
does
you.
that?
Aquí la gente, people here is very different. We love talking to foreigners,
Yeah,
getting them
and
to
they'll
talk to
invite
us.
you like
Yeah,
drinks,
yeah.
like even.
Aquí nos encanta conocer gente nueva. Si es que Málaga, because of the position it's on the map, it's always been like a bridge between cultures. Started with the Arabic people. We are half Arabics. We are half Africans. Malagueños. Porque es como el punto, it was like a merchant point of, selling because of the ports, to sell to Cádiz, Granada, Sevilla, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so everybody that came from the north to Africa, and anybody from Africa to the north had to go through Málaga. So we are very used to
You're
that kind of
open
thing.
to
Y nos encanta, vaya.
Sí, sí, me encanta también. Y tuve esa experiencia en Francia, que fui el año pasado a Marseille, y me resultó súper difícil conocer a franceses. Y yo fui
Claro.
para conocer franceses, para practicar el francés, y terminé con amigas venezolanas,
Claro.
mexicanas,
Pasa.
¿sabes?
Yeah, that happens.
Sí, sí, sí.
¿Tú qué opinas, oye, Nes, del tema del el carácter latino? El carácter latino.
encanta.
¿Te gusta ese rollo? El rollito
Sí, sí,
de
sí.
expresar los sentimientos, ser echado para adelante, abrirte a la gente que no conoces,
Sí, sí,
ese
sí.
tipo de cosas.
Me encanta. Como todas las culturas que se relacionan con el español, me encanta, porque son muy abiertos, muy welcoming, ¿sabes? Y lo veo un poco como, me identifico un poco
Because you
porque...
being Irish, I mean, you're half Irish.
Yeah,
So-
well,
¿no?
blood, no, but
No
like
blood,
legally, yes. And
But I mean, you spent, up until what age were you in Ireland?
hace 3 años.
Hace 3 años. Entonces, claro, ¿tú qué tendrás? ¿25? o
27.
27,
ahora.
27 años. Pues ya ves, desde los 11 a los 27, that's 15 years or
A
16
lot.
years.
But like Philippines has this Latino kind of culture as well,
Sí.
because Spain,
It's a colony.
sí,
Yeah,
it was a colony of Spain
a
for
Spanish colony.
333 years, I think. So
Yeah.
we have this is in Filipino is mesa, la mesa.
Eso es verdad, eso está guapo.
Sí.
¿Puedes decirnos algunas palabras que sean en español, en filipino, palabras
Claro,
comunes?
La mesa, cilia,
La cilia, que no la
cilia.
silla, la cilia.
micrófono,
Micrófono.
porque no tenemos F. Entonces, Filipinas es Pilipinas en filipino.
Hostia, qué bueno, tío.
Sí, sí.
La Filipina.
La Filipina.
La
sí.
Filipina, la Filipina Nesh, aquí live.
¿Qué más? Tinidor,
El tinidor.
tenedor,
Hostia.
cuchara y coche. Pero coche se escribe como K-O-T-S-E. Coche.
Oh, coche. Curioso. Pero se pronuncia coche.
Coche.
Pero se pronuncia
sí.
coche, curiosamente. Pero claro, a mí lo que me resulta curioso de eso en filipino es, del tagalo, es que, o sea, who chose to have those Spanish words and not, for example, you say tinidor y cuchara,
Yeah.
but a mesa, but you don't have plato.
We have plato.
You have plato.
I think
Okay.
it's a lot of cuisine words, like
Cuisine words.
from the kitchen. Yeah.
Okay.
So, cortina as well, cortina en vez de cortina.
Cortina.
Y no tenemos C, tenemos K.
Okay.
No tenemos C, no tenemos F, no tenemos V. ¿Por qué tener V si ya tienes la B?
Claro, vas de sobrada.
Y la C si ya tienes la K y la S, ¿sabes?
Claro. O sea que los filipinos
Somos muy simples,
tenéis
es súper fácil.
economía del lenguaje, ¿no?
Sí,
Economy
sí,
of language,
sí,
¿no?
exactamente, es
Eso
súper
es-
fácil.
Eso está guapísimo.
Sí.
Yo por eso, tío, a mí me encanta eso, hacer las cosas. Por eso me gusta hacer segments on the podcast, because I love trying to cover as many things as possible,
Yeah.
but without being too superficial, you know?
Yeah.
So trying to tread on lightly, ¿no? ¿Cómo se dice eso? Tread on, no, eso es como es otra cosa. Tread on lightly, I was reading another thing.
But
today.
yeah, por ejemplo, babae.
Babae.
Es chica. Babae. No tiene nada
Suena,
que ver.
suena africano, suena como una lengua africana. Babae.
sí. Pero vaso es vaso, pero con B en vez de V. Y
Vale.
vaca también es con B.
Claro, porque directamente cogieron la grafía tal cual se oía, tal
Claro,
cual se oye,
claro.
¿no? La grafía tal cual.
Sí.
Interesante eso, tío. Y nada, pues esto era un poco diferencias, ¿no? El tema de entre Francia... bueno, y los apellidos, que en Francia tienen un apellido solo. Pero en España tenemos 2. Y en Francia, el apellido de la mujer, cuando se casa, adopta el del marido.
Eso es, sí. En la mayoría del tiempo. Ahora hay muchas mujeres que quieren quedar sus apellidos y entonces hay como una mezcla de apellido y a veces hay los dos. Yo tengo el apellido de mi padre.
¿Tú el de tu padre?
Mi madre tengo el apellido de mi padre también.
Vale, o sea, todas las chicas... todas las chicas, sí, todas las chicas tienen el apellido de su padre, entonces, ¿no?
Sí.
Porque si están casados, claro.
Sí.
A no ser que...
Pero después, sí... ahora no sé, porque si me voy a casar con una chica no conozco las reglas. Pero
claro.
si tuviera que casarme con un chico, tendría que...
Tú pierdes el apellido. Ya no sería Guérin, ¿no? Ya sería otro, ¿no? ¿Cómo se... Guérin, eso.
Qué bonito.
Guérin. Qué guapo.
Sí.
¿Significa algo Guérin? No.
Nada.
No significa nada.
En Filipinas es una mezcla de los dos. Porque
Eso.
aquí es padre y madre, ¿no?
Sí, primero padre y después el de la
Pues
madre.
en Filipinas es madre y luego padre.
Curioso.
Pero lo pones como initials. Por ejemplo, yo me llamo Neshan R. La Cuesta.
La Cuesta. O sea, tu segundo apellido es La Cuesta.
Y la R es Rodríguez.
Qué guapo, tío. Claro, y de tu madre es La Cuesta y tu padre... No, de tu madre es Rodríguez y tu padre La Cuesta.
Sí, exacto.
Qué guapo.
Sí.
Los dos son completamente españoles, tío.
Sí,
los
la
amigos.
mayoría de los filipinos
Qué
tienen el apellido español. Porque nos cambiaron el apellido. No es porque somos hijos de ellos. Algunos sí, pero nos forzaron. They forced us to...
Os forzaron, sí. Os forzaron.
They forced us to change our last names.
Claro, bueno.
Era para ¿cómo se llama esa lista de personas? No me acuerdo ni en inglés.
Lista de personas. Sí, el censo. Census. Sí.
Eso.
Sí, eso lo hacen, claro. Pero eso es curioso, claro. Y porque tú eres... ¿es normal emigrar de Filipinas?
Sí.
Es muy normal, ¿no?
Muy normal.
Eso yo lo he notado en bastantes países asiáticos, que es muy normal emigrar, ¿verdad?
Sí. No sé de los otros, pero Filipinas sí, mucho.
Gente que... ¿Cuál es la población de Filipinas? Son muchos, ¿no?
Sí, casi 100 millones.
100
creo.
millones, joder.
Casi,
claro.
no sé.
Es el doble, sí, como el doble.
Y tengo familia por todos lados.
Como el doble.
Australia, Estados Unidos, Dubái, Singapur, todos lados.
¿Y tú eres la única que está en España o tus padres se vinieron?
Soy la única, sí.
¿Y tus padres están fuera también, no?
Están en Irlanda.
En Irlanda. Claro, que me dijiste que te fuiste a verlos en Navidad. Sí. Curioso. O sea, tú eres ciudadana del mundo total,
sí,
¿eh?
eso es lo que digo. ¿Qué digo? De ninguna parte, de todos lados y de ninguna
parte.
Sí.
Exacto. Mira, comentando una cosa que comentó Marie la semana pasada, que me pareció muy bonito, que es, tú dijiste, yo te pregunté, I asked her what the definition of love for her was. Le pregunté cuál es la definición del amor y me dijo una respuesta muy bonita. Me dijo, Rafa, para mí es echar raíces en una persona. To develop roots, ¿no? To be rooted. To root yourself in someone else. O algo así me dijo. Y yo pensé, digo, al final es como, she told me, what traveling doesn't provide me, that other person provides it to me. O algo así me dijo ella. Claro, y eso, y me parece, yo quería preguntarte a ti sobre eso, sobre el tema de tanto viajar y emigrar a distintos países. ¿Tú tienes apego a algún país más que otro? ¿O te sientes que eres completamente libre y te da igual? ¿O tienes más apego a algún país?
Por ejemplo, Irlanda para mí está más lejos. Ahora mismo tengo más apego a España.
A España.
Sí.
Ajá.
Y cuando me voy fuera, por ejemplo, fui de Erasmus como una semana en agosto del año pasado, creo, o hace 2 años. y me veían como española, porque fui con el grupo de español. Y yo, español. Y yo le dije, no, que yo soy española, pero me seguían llamando española.
Tienes hasta los gestos, tío. Lo de, no, eso es muy español, eso es, ya se te quedas con las cosas culturales.
No lo noto,
Eso de esa duda, el expresar duda, no, eso es muy español, eso es verdad, se te quedas con los manerismos, esos son manerismos.
Mannerism, yes,
los manerismos.
Exactly, yeah.
Eso me encanta todas esas cosas.
Sí. Y cuando voy a Filipinas, por ejemplo, yo la última vez que fui era 2010, entonces no sabría ahora, pero creo que me sentiría más como irlandesa y cuando estoy en Irlanda me siento más filipina.
Más filipina. Hostia, claro.
Porque tú no eres como los demás en ese país. Por eso me encanta estar en España, porque no soy española.
Sí. Te entiendo.
Entonces soy una guiri, ya está.
Una guiri más. La guiri preferida de Paliqueo Creep, guys. Aquí la ves. No, pero que sí, hombre, al final tú siempre... we made a video about that with Agustina, an Argentinian girl, and the other one was Spanish, I think. We talked about being a foreigner, what it feels like being a foreigner in Spain. Well, in Spain and in any country, because it's like because it's hard to get friends anywhere. Imagine getting friends in a foreign country, being a foreigner, because you need to try and blend in with the cultural set of values. So it's twice as hard.
I was talking to my student this morning about that, because she lives in Ireland and she doesn't have any Irish friends. She has Brazilian friends, Spanish friends.
Pero es común eso, ¿eh?
Es común, muy común.
Hacer amigos foreigners when you're in a foreign country. Eso es muy común.
Me costó en Francia, pero por ejemplo aquí no me costó tanto, porque me encanta la cultura y comparto el sentido de humor de los españoles. Sí. Pero es que quería integrarme a la sociedad, a la cultura.
Es que yo creo que es hasta healthy, es saludable. El no integrarse es unhealthy.
Yeah,
porque, mira, te puede llevar a ansiedad, te puede llevar a sentirte depresivo, te puede llevar a volverte un loner, o a gente a aislarte. ¿Cómo se llama? Un ermitaño, hermits. You can become a hermit, convertirte en un ermitaño. Y eso puede empeorar si se mantiene. Y sobre todo, un consejo que os doy a la gente que sea foreigner o españoles que estén en otros países, que al final, especially if you are only being there, if you're going to stay there for a year or 2 years, if you know you are under a timeline, tenéis que hacer amigos, tío, rápido, porque es que si no se os va el tiempo. Y es como yo digo, se convierte como en una, like in a line in a resume, just another line in a resume, como, yeah, I was in Spain for a year, what did you do? Estuve en Madrid, en Barcelona, okay, what did you do? Yeah, I met a couple of people in a bar one night. How long were you there? For 365 days. Okay. Claro, es como la magia, la magic of meeting people. Tenéis que forzaros.
I like the phrase, when in Rome, do what the Romans do.
Do what the Romans do.
Exactly.
100%, 100% con eso.
Like a lot of people I've traveled, I've been to 50 cities, but what did you do? You just visited the monuments. And
you went sightseeing.
Sightseeing, that's it. You didn't even eat their food.
With an organized tour guiding group.
Yeah, exactly. You need to integrate yourself with local people,
The best choice having you here, Nesh, because we are online, we are aligning those things. Y yo creo que es muy importante que eso quede claro aquí, porque este podcast al final es eso, porque a mí me gusta, I'm a local, I'm a complete local, I'm from Málaga, I'm Spanish from Málaga. Y yo lo que quiero es que os deis cuenta de que se puede reunir gente de todos sitios y hablar de cualquier tema y practicar el español, el inglés o lo que haga falta. And another thing is to try and, for example, if in a conversation, I noticed that, for example, Marie doesn't feel comfortable, on certain topics in Spanish, then we switch to English. Y como porque mucha gente me dice, oye, pero how do you know when to switch? No, when you are in an international atmosphere, just go with the flow. Tú
Well,
vas...
if I'm stuttering my ass off, it means that I'm struggling in Spanish.
Claro.
If I'm just like and that my sentences are like 1 kilometer long, that's not struggling.
Exacto. Mira, y una cosa también buena de ti, Maggie, es que you're an avid reader. Eres una lectora muy prolífera. Eres una lectora prolífera. Que quiere decir que la lectura te hace come up with adjectives, you know,
Claro, y aprendo mucho de los libros y porque tengo buena memoria voy a recordar lo que leí en el día o eso. Y es un modo para aprender.
Y una cosa que me gusta mucho de la lectura, Maggie, es que te ayuda a, cuando no sabes decir algo, buscar una alternativa.
Sí, claro.
Looking for alternatives. When you get stuck, trying to express an idea, reading helps you because the descriptions in reading help you, okay, maybe I shouldn't go this way. I should try to come up with a different set of words for this.
But that's what learning language is about. Like my problem right now is that when I'm speaking Spanish, I am still first speaking French or English, depending to who I'm speaking. But first speaking French or English, and then having to translate that from the my native language to Spanish, and it's not natural. It's not something that comes right off, you know. So I have to sometimes prepare myself, think of the sentence, and then just like get it out.
Yeah, get it out of the way, ¿no?
And eso me cuesta mucho.
Claro.
Hablar sin hacer errores y que la gente me comprende.
Sí, pero por eso el self-awareness es tan importante porque no deberías, you need to have this I don't give a fuck attitude, you know?
Exacto.
Like,
but the thing is, usually I speak, I just like do whatever I'm doing, you know? I don't think about it too hard. But when we're in a podcast like that, it's timed, and I can't just spend like 5 minutes on one
trying to figure out
sentence.
Pero da igual porque on post I can edit everything out, so don't worry. When I make the reels, I go into Premiere. I go into Premiere and just edit.
And also, it's like
out.
totally Spanglish, the podcast.
El podcast, 100%. Actually, exacto. Pero es como I'm working on that now. Actually, to be honest, Nesh, because I noticed that we tend to speak too much English in the podcast because I don't know, for some reason most of the guests here were Americans. For some reason, I don't know why. But a lot of them, most of them, were not fluent in Spanish. They could speak a little bit of Spanish, but they didn't feel too comfortable, developing a fluid conversation. So I had to maybe 90% of the show was in English. So, but then the reels and the video and the clips, the YouTube clips, they are mostly English, but very little Spanish. What happens? The Spanish audience, I completely lost them because yes, because they say, they all tell me, hey Rafa, I love the topics, but I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Also, I got a full-time job doing computer integration, so I cannot, to be honest, I cannot spend another full-time job. Maybe I can spend 20-30 hours a week researching, editing and all that stuff, but not longer than that. Otherwise, I don't have a life.
What could help is subtitles, subtitularlo.
Claro,
si hablas en inglés, subtítulos en español o algo así.
I was paying a guy to help me with that on the reels because I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried, this software where you upload the video and it creates automatically the subtitles, but it was a very shitty result. Yeah. So I had to. Anyways,
really tricky.
Eddie, I don't know how do you do though your subtitles on TikTok?
They don't pay me, but it's CapCut.
Okay.
CapCut. So you upload a video and they generate the subtitles for you, but they don't translate. So they just write whatever you say. Right,
but also you're right because on your reels, I guess it works way better because you speak very precise, like. You use very specific words really clearly, like you speak very clearly.
And also it's difficult if you're speaking Spanglish because
Spanglish
it's
a mess.
You can only set it for either English or Spanish.
A target language.
What I do is I do it twice and then I just delete whatever they think I said in English.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a tricky issue. Right now, so far, I'm not gonna deal with subtitles for the moment. I'm just gonna have fun. Because I prefer focusing on the content, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want to go...
Sí, haz lo que
not making money out
haz lo que a ti te gusta y vendrán lo que le gusta también tu contenido.
Exactamente, al final es eso.
Es que no tienes que tener una meta porque en el principio van a ti. ¿Sabes?
Exacto. Yeah, to be honest, I just prefer entertaining for the moment, and if people like it, then I guess I can try something else.
Exactly, because if you try too hard, then it doesn't come as natural. You know?
Ajá, 100%.
Yeah.
Otra cosa, Nesh, que te quería tratar, porque hayas sacado lo del self-awareness, que era lo otro que era lo de los building habits. Que eso es un tema que I guess in your courses you also talk about this a lot, no?
Yes, so I have a course called the Live and Speak English Challenge.
Yeah.
So, vivir el idioma y también crear hábitos para que el inglés sea parte de tu día y que sea natural, totalmente auténtico y eso, que no sea como tan inglés otra vez.
Exacto.
¿Sabes?
Sí.
Like a good way to build a habit, for example, is to get an English book and put it beside your bed, like en la mesilla, para que tú la veas y cuando la veas lo coges y vale.
Que te recuerde que tienes que estudiar.
Claro,
Sí.
but an English novel book, not like a grammar book.
Sí, claro.
And stuff like, I don't know, make a group chat with yourself and apunta todo lo que aprendes en ese día. Lo tengo en francés. Cuando estuve en Francia estaba apuntando, por ejemplo, me acuerdo geladal. Geladal es
¿Qué
como,
significa?
Tengo hambre.
Tengo hambre, pero es muy slang.
Oh,
¿sabes?
okay, like I'm starving, ¿no?
I'm starving, yeah.
Geladal.
Realmente. Y
Like-
yo no sé de dónde viene actualmente.
Oye,
Geladal.
¿sabéis en español cómo es eso?
Espera, no me lo digas.
Esa es buena.
En Andalucía.
En malagueño.
En malagueño. Oh,
Esta te la sabes, seguro que te la has escuchado en la calle.
es con estoy, ¿no? Estoy
Sí.
en Maya.
Sí,
Estoy
esmayado.
en Maya.
Estoy esmayado. ¿Sabes de dónde viene, no?
No,
You don't know where it comes from. Esmaya, esto es muy malagueño, esto no lo dicen ni en Sevilla, creo. Estar esmayado. Bueno, esmayado, no esmayado, esmayado. Esto viene de desmayado, fainted.
Fainted.
Fainted
Yeah.
because you are so starving that you fainted.
Yeah. So
Entonces,
it's
en Málaga, como nos comemos las palabras, pues decimos, tío, estoy esmayado. Esto es, estoy desmayado.
Interesting.
Eso, bueno.
Yeah. Well, those are the kind of things that you don't learn through books, you know?
Exacto.
So you learn it through living in the language and by watching films and series. So
100%. Bueno, de hecho, antes hacía más yo TV shows and series because I love doing that too. Pero lately, the last few podcasts, I just focus on topics because I don't know, I enjoy it more because people get to speak their opinions about things.
it's really interesting. I wanted to mention like the type of bilinguals there are because I see you like I think we're the same in speaking Spanglish because there are some people who can only speak English and then Spanish separately. Like they're bilingual, but when they're speaking English, they speak purely English.
Yeah.
And then when they speak Spanish, they speak purely Spanish.
Yes.
But us, like we mix them both.
Yes.
I think that happens like
That's a
in-
hybrid. That's
Yeah.
for me as a person, as a specific person.
Yes. I think it happens a lot in Latin America and like, the immigrants from Latin America to
Yeah.
United States, they use Spanglish, they mix both. But over here, it's not really. It's like you either speak English or Spanish.
Yeah, I actually got more. I became more of that kind of person because I used to teach middle school in Chicago for a couple of years, and I taught most of my students were Mexican Americans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they were a mixed breed
Okay,
of kids, and we were using Spanglish the whole time. Pero, mister, pero ¿por qué llegaste tarde hoy, Miguel? Pero, mister, que se me frizó la troca, güey. Pero no entiendes que se me frizó la troca, maestro, mister. Y hablaba así, froze, my truck froze. En vez de decir, my truck froze, o mi camión se me congeló, dicen, se me frizó la troca.
Freeze.
My truck froze. Se me frizó. Entonces, así un montón de palabras así.
Exactly.
Pero eso yo digo que, mira, en España, Nesh, tenemos Spanglish de mentira. ¿Sabes? No, es que en España hay un Spanglish, pero, ¿sabes? Yo lo llamo el Spanglish del pijo de marketing.
Yeah.
You know the one?
Metes palabras en inglés y...
Pero es porque has hecho un máster en Londres un año y has venido y ahora pues tienes como, oye, pues estoy haciendo un bootcamp para aprender a mejorar mi proficiency en inglés, ¿sabes? Y van metiendo como palabritas
Claro.
así. O estoy haciendo el trending topic de esto y van como metiendo palabritas.
Claro.
Palabritas
Pero también
así.
es que es más común utilizar la palabra inglesa, por ejemplo, marketing.
Claro, en ese caso sí. No, pero esa sí está muy establecida,
Sí.
pero yo no sé, me refiero no sé, palabras como, yo qué sé,
Eso como dijiste, proficiency.
proficiency.
Sí.
Soy bastante proficient yo en inglés, ¿no?
Sí.
O, por ejemplo, hay una que se usa mucho en gaming. ¿Tú juegas a videojuegos, Maggie? ¿Algún videojuego? No, no. ¿No?
Animal Crossing.
¿Cómo?
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Sí,
O
pero-
sea, oye,
y
pues es un
ahora-
tema, ¿eh?
no,
Animal Crossing.
Ahora no. Creo lo dejé hace un rato. Porque estaba en Costa Rica, estaba
Claro.
en España. ¿Sabes? Tenía cosas que hacer.
Claro, es un
Lo, hago
poquito...
lo juego en Francia cuando no tengo nada que hacer.
Pues en Animal Crossing no es el game que tenía in my head, pero Animal Crossing, yo estaba pensando el LOL, el WoW, ¿sabes?
El Fortnite.
El Fortnite, pero no, porque en gaming, los gamers, en Twitch, hay una palabra que se utiliza mucho que es estar tilteado. To be
Tilteado.
tilted.
Ok.
Que es como estar... To get mad when
Ah,
you
yeah.
don't get what you want in the game, right?
Yeah.
You get stuck
Yeah.
in a level,
Mhm.
you can't go up a level.
That's not something you can do in Animal Crossing. Like,
¿Cómo?
in
En Animal Crossing,
Animal
eso te
Crossing you
pasa.
just don't get
Tú estabas
stuck in a level.
tilteada, ¿no? En algún momento seguro, ¿verdad? En el
Totalmente.
Animal Crossing.
Muy enfadada.
¿Qué se hacen en Animal Crossing? Que es
Es solo a construir una ciudad.
farms, ¿no?
No farms especialmente, pero literalmente.
Building
una-
a city, ¿no?
Sí, construir una ciudad, construir tu vida con gente.
Es como The Sims, ¿no? Como The Sims, algo
Claro,
así, ¿no?
pero con animales.
Con animales.
Más cute.
Vale, vale.
Qué cute.
Lo miraré. I'll take a look at that
Lo que
too.
no hemos mencionado son los de Gibraltar. ¿Cómo era
Ah.
¿Cómo se llamaba la
Gibraltareños.
gente? No, el Spanglish de ahí.
Ah, bueno, sí, lo de Gibraltar es increíble. Porque tienen claro, hablan straight up English, like British English, like perfect, like dead ass English.
Con una mezcla de andaluz.
Y con andaluz. Es que es lo más gracioso.
Es que me
Es lo
encanta.
más gracioso. Mira,
Hay un nombre, pero no me acuerdo.
sí, mira, te voy a poner. Mira, inglés de Gibraltar. Te voy a añadir. Porque es verdad que es muy gracioso, tío. Mira. Inglés de Gibraltar.
Llanito, esa
El llanito, el llanito. Mira. Escucha.
Bueno, yo te
Este
puedo...
es demasiado. Vamos a poner a alguien más joven para que la gente vea. Tiene que se dicen en Gibraltar.
El primero es bueno, ¿eh?
¿El
Lo
primero
que,
es bueno?
Sí, lo
¿Este?
que... Sí.
Bueno, yo te puedo decir, por ejemplo, there is, for example, we call los marbles, we call them Mabley. You know marbles? You used to play in the olden days with your fingers. Y nosotros le llamamos a eso el Mabley. No sé de dónde sale, pero...
Es que es like British and then andaluz.
Pero es que no te la. It catches you
de la
off guard.
cerveza.
Yeah.
Te
And
saca,
that
te
we
pilla
called it las
completamente
cañoneras.
Sí, sí,
desprevenido.
So we made a hole in eso y tirábamos.
Mira, es que es lo mejor, porque dice, you make a hole in herdeso,
¿En el
in herdeso, es como expresión pura andaluza, y como you make a hole in herdeso,
Sí.
Tenemos el trompo,
tenemos el
which
trompo.
is a top, pero el top that we used to amarrar con una cuerda.
Es buenísimo,
tiraba-
Es que me
tenemos
encanta.
juego
es buenísimo,
también. Jugábamos en cabalín.
El cabalín.
En cabalín es saltar uno encima del otro. Por ejemplo, uno se ponía así, el otro saltaba y...
El caballito,
teníamos
claro, el caballito de
Sí,
toda la
sí,
vida
sí.
es like el cabalín. Ok, pues esto se llama el
Llanito.
el llanito, ¿no? Se llama, ¿no? Pues
Me
interesante. Vamos a lo de building habits, porque tenemos aquí una cosa que te quería enseñar, que es esto. Este está repetido aquí, building habits, porque hay una cosa que es la diferencia entre routines y habits. Maggie, cuando yo te hablo de rutinas o hábitos, ¿qué se te viene a la cabeza? ¿Tú para ti son iguales crear rutinas o crear hábitos?
Para mí la rutina es como... Es algo que siempre voy a hacer en el día, pero un hábito, una costumbre, es
Sí.
más algo that I can like pass sometimes, that I won't always do, and it's just like when I have the time to. Like for me, a routine, it's more like I don't know, for example, like morning routine. I get up, take my breakfast, get
like
shower,
a set of actions, like a specific
action
set
that
of
I
actions.
need to do for my, like, I don't know,
Mm.
health, whatever, limpieza, todo eso.
Claro.
Un habit it's more for me like a hobby that you can allow yourself.
Exacto, por ahí va la cosa, porque mira, básicamente la idea es que routines are how habits get created. So you build a habit through routines.
Yeah.
Entonces, cuando tú, por ejemplo, quieres you want to get ripped, you're going to get shredded, ¿no? Te quieres colgar, entonces your routine could be to do pull-ups, hacer dominadas, ¿no? Colgarte y hacer dominadas, por ejemplo. Y cuando ya it becomes something that you actually look for, you actually feel like doing, then it becomes a habit.
Exactly.
Entonces se convierte en un hábito. Y eso, las lenguas, ¿cómo se usa eso en las lenguas? Aprendiendo segundas lenguas, Nesh, en tu opinión.
Pues tiene que ver mucho, por ejemplo, con las películas. Aquí en España se ven muchas las películas dobladas y las odio, de verdad.
Sí,
Odio ver
¿Las
bocas
películas de qué?
dobladas.
Dubbed.
Oh,
sí,
Dubbed films. Cuando abre la boca y sale otra
Sale
voz,
otra voz.
sí. Otra palabra, otra voz.
Me gusta esa definición, es
Es que-
increíble. ¿Qué es dubbing? Cuando abre la boca y sale otra voz.
Exacto.
Muy buena esa.
Es totalmente eso, ¿sabes?
Sí, sí.
Y no me gusta nada. Además, cuando doblan los niños, son adultos
Son
que
adultos.
hablan así. Y yo, por favor.
Claro. Bueno, escucha, pero bueno, te voy a decir, ahí tengo dos cosas, porque tú sabes que en España el doblaje español de España, de la península ibérica, se considera el mejor doblaje del mundo.
Claro, ¿y
del
sabes
mundo.
por qué es mejor? Porque le hace falta
Porque
ser el mejor.
because of
Porque
the audience, la gente.
La gente necesita ver películas dobladas.
Lo necesita.
En
sí,
inglés
sí.
es horrible, madre mía. Yo nunca he visto nada doblado en inglés porque es horrible. Y porque son horribles porque no se tienen que desarrollar tanto la calidad, ¿sabes?
Exactamente.
Porque los que ven los angloparlantes no vemos cosas dobladas.
Cosas
¿no?
dobladas.
No. Si es español, lo escuchamos en español y leemos los subtítulos y ya está.
En inglés, exacto. Sí. Eso es buena, ¿eh? Esa es una buena cosa. No, claro, chicos, es verdad, en España, fijaos que nosotros vamos al cine y vemos la película tal cual le ponemos la voz en español, pero tenemos que acostumbrarnos a verlo con subtítulos. Mira, cuando yo empecé a aprender inglés de verdad, fue eso. Yo me acuerdo, yo tenía 14 años.
Sí.
Y I actually used VHS tapes at the beginning because it was like my family. Es muy antiguo. My family. Anyway, I had a VHS player. I also had DVD player, but I was in a language school. Yo estaba en una escuela de idiomas y me acuerdo que tenían una colección de like una vitrina, a closet full of VHS tapes from a collection called Speak Up. Que es para mí, for me, it was like the beginning of my learning English journey. Porque eran hundreds of movies with booklets, with leaflets, ¿no? Que explicaban expressions, slang, collocation. Like everything I love now started there when I was 14.
Oh, nice.
Y me acuerdo, listen, I literally became, I would say almost bilingual, like really in a year. Like dead as, like maybe 12 months, 14 months, 15 months, 18 months
And
tops.
what did you do? You just listen to them every day? Or?
I compulsively, when I came, I didn't have any friends because I was 14, and by then I wasn't really social. Then I started becoming social like 16, 17.
Yeah.
But when I was 14, I was a loner, like way worse than you're saying about you and stuff. Yo no tenía zero friends at 14, zero friends. Y yo lo que me gustaba era learning stuff. I love learning stuff. So I said, okay, I'm gonna learn English like really well. So I started grabbing one movie every week, and what I did is I watched the movie in English and then in Spanish and then in English again without the subtitles. So I watched the same movie like 3-4 times.
Qué trucazo.
Y me ponía a tomar notas, like handwritten notes.
Sí.
I remember that I had like folders like with hundreds of pages with notes and stuff. Y claro, what I did was just compulsively consume movies in VHS.
Yeah.
And then it came the DVDs and then the internet. For me, the YouTube was what started everything for me.
Yeah.
My life changed
Wow.
in 2006 when I
Empezaste
discovered
porque
YouTube.
tenía ganas de aprender y yo empecé porque
Te
no me
obligaron.
no, es solo que no me gusta hacer cosas en las que tengo que pensar mucho. Y por ejemplo, por el inglés estaba en un bachillerato de literatura y en el bachillerato de literatura en Francia hay muchos puntos por el inglés y yo no literalmente hablé nada de inglés, nada, nivel 0, menos que 0. Y entonces dije a mi mamá, tengo una idea, tengo que ir en un país donde tengo que hablar inglés,
Claro.
porque es fácil.
Muy bien.
Si voy a un país, obvio voy a hablar el idioma del país y cuando yo regreso puedo tener todos los puntos en inglés por el bachillerato, porque yo sé que no voy a tener muchos puntos en literatura francesa o en historia y todo eso. Y entonces...
¿Dónde fuiste?
India,
India. Oh, qué interesante.
¿Qué ciudad?
Pune.
Pune, okay.
Ah,
That's where you met your ex-boyfriend, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was Mexican, you said?
Yes.
Mexican, okay.
so you always had this Spanish presence.
Yeah, but I also thought if I'm gonna learn like a third language, it may as well just be Spanish because I heard that it was easy, which it's not. But it's not just because it's really like similar to French, and French is a freaking nightmare to learn. That's the thing.
Oh my God.
And Spanish is also like it's easy because it's like French, but it's also really hard because it's like French, and French sometimes just it doesn't make sense. So.
Sí, mira, has dicho una cosa muy interesante ahí, Maggie, que es la mejor forma de aprender el idioma es exponerte al idioma, to expose yourself to the language, right?
Claro.
Mira, I used to teach English in a private flying school for pilots, in a flight.
Thanks.
Okay, nice.
In a flight, just for 7 months, just a random job, like part-time. So I was just the teacher, teaching English for pilots and flight attendants. But anyway, there was a guy, a pilot, who told me something that I really keep in my head when I think of learning languages, which is how you face emergency situations, right? So what the guy told me was this. He told me, Rafa, really, it doesn't matter what they teach you in flying school. When you want to get your license to become a pilot, it's really expensive, by the way. It's like about 100,000 euros or something. Yeah. He told me, when you really use that, and when you really dig deep to use that knowledge, is when you really are in an emergency situation. Yeah. So for me, learning languages is like that. It's like you need to put yourself in emergency situations as much as you can
to survive.
Claro.
What's that in the actual world? Just travel and being in a foreign country.
Exactly. That's why I went to France.
Y por eso a mí se me quedó siempre, ¿sabes?
Sí,
el tema de las emergencias, ¿no?
Claro.
Porque al final, si tú estás en una escuela, ¿no? Aquí, en España, aprendiendo inglés, al final, sí, te puede tocar un tío de Brighton y el tío te puede contar sus movidas de Brighton, pero el tío está como en su bubble, ¿no?
Claro.
Y tú estás como boxed in, ¿no? Como metido en tu mundo, ¿sabes? Te digo, tu universo paralelo.
Es mi problema ahora con el idioma español, es que creo que porque estoy en una escuela conoces para la gente internacional, entonces no hay gente de España, no hay malagueños o nada de eso, y entonces creo que ¿cómo se dice? It would be easier if I was like in a school, like literally just with even the high school.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sí, in an actual school.
You're integrating yourself into with the locals. What you can do is go on Meetup and go to intercambios de idiomas y ya está.
En los meetups, sí, bueno, yo I tried those meetups. Thing is, with those, actually, you know what? This whole podcast thing started out because of the meetups.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I actually did go to a few of those language exchanges, but I noticed that they had a lot of things. They were lacking a lot of things. The exchanges, because when you are there, it's always different people, but the conversations tend to be very shallow and really not shallow, but it's normal. It's like the first. It's like the first conversation that you would have when you meet someone new. ¿Entiendes?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Pero claro, yo pensaba, tío, pero sí es que siempre hablamos de lo mismo, ¿no? We always tend to speak about the same, like, what do you do? What are you doing here? What are your goals? What do you enjoy about your country? The differences between your country and our country, which is cool. I love that stuff. But if you want to like keep going for weeks and weeks and weeks, it's always, don't expect too much else unless you switch it up. Like, and then I started doing that in the conversations. I started like switching, like trying to come up with different conversations.
Topics, yeah.
Pero yo me daba cuenta, tía Nesh, que claro, I'm no one to do that. Like see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a random guy who's there, the same you are doing. So who am I to try to impose topics on people?
Pero ¿cómo funcionaba ese?
Eso era un bar. Era en el Gran Café. Aquí, ¿sabes? El Gran Café del río, en el río. Y era básicamente, te asignan un grupo, tú dices, yo tengo advanced level of English or intermediate or whatever, y dependiendo del level te meten en un grupo. Y a lo mejor son 4 o 5 personas, los que sean. Pero ya está. O sea, there are no rules, there are no guidelines or anything. No hay como directrices, ni parámetros, ni nada. O sea, te dicen, oye, siéntate ahí, habla. Claro, entonces, dependes mucho. Mira, hay una expresión en español que es estar vendido. Estar vendido. Ahí estábamos vendidos. Que quiere decir que you are out, in English you could say something, you are out in the cold or something. Como, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it because it really depends on the people that are in front of you. Like, if the people are really shy or they don't like to talk about certain things or whatever, it doesn't matter if you want to come up with topics. Al final siempre van a terminar, la gente dice, bueno, no, pero, y va como la conversación siempre termina siendo de lo mismo.
Pero yo, como lo hice yo, es ir algunas veces y hacer amigos con esa gente y luego quedar
después,
ya...
aparte, eso sí.
Porque ya vas encontrando la gente que de verdad te cae bien, que tienes conversaciones interesantes y no solo, oye, ¿qué haces en la vida? y ya está.
Eso sí lo veo yo. Sí, exactamente. Por eso al final dije, tío, pues voy a hacer un podcast y voy a empezar a traer gente y después ya, si la gente ya, pues podemos coger más confianza y tal, ¿sabes? Y desarrollamos ya una amistad y lo que sea, ¿sabes?
Claro.
Pero sí, eso es una cosa que puedes hacer, Maggie. Ahí es un buen método. Yo conozco en Meetup, en la web y también hay varios bars en el centro de Málaga que hacen exchanges like that.
Sí. Lo hacen frecuentemente.
Los tengo por ahí apuntados. Después te paso. Hay como 5 o 6 que yo tenga así on the top of my head. Hay como 5 o 6.
Y algunos son gratis también. Gratuitos.
O a lo mejor te cobran
2 euros.
2 euros por tomarte un Nestí o lo que sea, ¿sabes? Está bien. Vale, pues tenemos los habits, esto, ¿no? Después, mirad, hay un topic que, a ver qué os parece, que yo tenía, que quería enlazarlo con una historia, que es el tema de being a perfectionist, Nesh. Being a perfectionist.
This is also in my course.
¿Vale? Porque yo tengo también un problema con eso, con el tema de que es como finding a balance, right? Finding a balance between doing things the right way, but doing things. You know? Como, porque this is something that I've always struggled with, like, because I want to do a lot of things, or I want to try out new stuff, but there are only a given amount of hours in the day, and there's only a level of you know, perfection that you can achieve, because of course you can always keep improving, pero claro, al final hay un límite. ¿Tú cómo ves este tema del ser perfeccionista, Nesh? ¿Tú
Pues,
te enfrentas a eso?
A la hora de hablar idiomas y aprender idiomas, yo creo que es una de las trampas más peligrosas porque no puedes ser perfecto.
Exacto.
No puedes ser perfecto. Y para mí, por ejemplo, yo era más perfeccionista con el francés que con el español y por eso me cuesta más francés porque yo quiero, vale, la tilde o the agreements, the spelling and everything, la pronunciación, pero con el español no me importaba nada, me importaba solo comunicarme con la gente. Y, ¿sabes? No, a veces sí, claro, me corrijo y presto atención en qué debería mejorar. Pero nunca he tenido que ser perfecta en mi mente.
Sí, claro.
¿Sabes? Entonces, mucha gente se traba mucho con el idioma cuando hablan porque quieren ser perfectos y bien conjugado o, no sé, la gramática, sobre todo,
On point,
aquí.
sí.
No quieren hablar porque es o hablo
Perfecto
o no hablo.
Correcto,
Exactamente.
correcto.
Y eso no va a funcionar.
100% on board with that. Lo he visto, yo es que lo he visto eso mucho. Además, mira,
Sí,
yo
en
daba
tus
en high
alumnos,
school,
sí.
yo daba en high school en Spain, yo he enseñado inglés en high schools en Spain, en privada, concertada y pública, las tres.
Sí.
Y siempre lo mismo, siempre era el problema del niño. Solo hablaba el que se sentía muy seguro,
Claro.
el que se sentía muy seguro y tal. Pero de vez en cuando te encontrabas con alguno que se arriesgaba y cometía fallos. Y me encantaban. Eso es mi favorito.
Yo cometo fallos en español todos los días y me da igual, ¿sabes? Porque se entiende lo que estoy diciendo.
Claro. Y eso se puede aplicar a cualquier área, ¿verdad, Maggie? Por ejemplo, podemos hablar en el writing, en la escritura. Porque, claro, tú, Marie, tú eres una escritora que con el tiempo has adquirido muchas habilidades. Pero claro, yo entiendo que cuando escribes un libro quieres que el capítulo sea lo más perfecto posible y lo más completo posible, ¿no? Y transmitir las ideas de la mejor manera, ¿no?
Sí, and my problem is that it's never going to be enough to me.
Claro.
And the thing is, like, since I'm trying to put myself into other people's shoes, I'm trying to, like, be inclusive within the book to just, like, I don't know, to make everybody happy, literally. And so first off, I'm not making myself happy because I'm always going to be disappointed with what I'm right. That's something that I learned and that I, like, started to accept, that I have, like, I'm not going to be, it's going to be good,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be perfect, to me at least. Like, maybe to other people it will, I don't know, that would be lovely. To me it won't be. And so it's really hard telling yourself to just write a sentence, do it. It's good like that. You don't need to change it for the millionth time. It's gonna stay this way. It's good this way. It's nice this way. It gives the message that you want to give. Just stop, like, obsessing over it. And at that, I, like, with writing, it's something that I hate because I've rewritten my book, like, dozens of times, and chapters dozens of times too. It's like, it's all over the place.
Must be hard.
And right now it's a freaking mess. So I'm getting there, obviously. But I've been thinking, like, for example, just the ending. I don't know how my book is gonna end. I mean, I do know, but, like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it happen. So I thought, since I'm writing in English, so if one day I have to translate my book in French, what I can do is write a different story. Like,
Claro.
not a different story, but at least a different ending. And that would be, and I thought, like, wouldn't it be fun to just, like, see how long it will take to bilingual people to see that I've changed the endings and stuff like that. Like, that would be fun because it gives me opportunities, you know, to do, like, both things if I want to do both things instead of just,
also, it's fun to experiment, right? To play around with the different outcomes of the story, maybe the characters.
I think my story allows many outcomes, so I don't know.
That's one of the things about art, especially I think perfectionism is a very tricky issue, especially with arts, with different arts, writing, poetry, painting, whatever, and in movies too. That's why I wanted to show you this guy. Aquí está. The Overcoat. Have you heard about this guy, Nuri Nordstein? Remind me next time I need to put some WD-40 on. This is very squeaky. This sounds very squeaky. mira, este tío, Yuri Norstein, this guy, he's a Russian. He has been making an animated movie called The Overcoats for over 40 years.
Wow.
And he says that because every single frame is a piece of art. And there's no way he can conceive of anything different than that. Entonces el tío está obsesionado con la idea, él y su mujer, because they do it together, him and his wife. But up to the point where they decided there was a point in their career, because he had a lot of jobs, he was famous back in the 80s or whatever, the 70s. Pero, claro, llegó un punto que dijo, no, prefiero que este resultado sea tan bueno como que yo me pueda morir. Y dice que él seguramente no acabe la obra. And he has made his peace within himself about this. Dice que él quiere tal nivel de perfección con su obra que le da igual, que si se queda inacabada. Como la torre de
la catedral.
Como la catedral, exactamente.
Es la versión de Don Quijote, dice, ¿no? Make his own version of Don Quijote.
Yeah. So, what do you think about this?
Well, it's the same as Da Vinci. You know, Da Vinci never finished any of his paintings. I don't know if La Mona Lisa is finished, but most of his paintings aren't finished because he was such a perfectionist. But everybody thought that his art was amazing, you know. It was only him. It's like you think that your chapters are not perfect, but maybe for someone else it is. It's like it's all in your head.
Yeah,
so
it's literally just that, I think. Because I cannot imagine like any version of one chapter or even the entire book that would be so perfect. I would just accept it the way it is and be like,
no, and that's
well,
good.
It's done. Like,
and that's good that you have that attitude because you're always thinking that it can be better and that you can be better.
Yeah, sure, but then I also have to like get it done with at some point.
Yeah,
I'm working on that. But
it's all in the mindset. Really.
Yeah, it's
the don't give a fuck attitude, no?
Yeah, don't give it IDGAF. I don't give a fuck.
Yes. Yeah, you have it in your site, no? I say IDGAF.
Exactly.
The I don't give a fuck attitude.
It's one of my values in my products and my courses and everything. It's like you shouldn't give a fuck about what other people say about you because then you're putting more importance of what they think of you than what you think of yourself and your skills and everything. Yeah, so.
Yeah. It's a really limiting factor, you know?
I think
perfectionism is too much.
In France, for French people, or just the way I see it, growing up being confident and knowing who you are and all of that and knowing that what you do is the way it's meant to be and if someone criticizes it, you can take criticism. Yeah. But it's like, and for French people, I think if you're really sure of your art and what you're doing, you're just like full of yourself. And that's the way other people see it. So I'm always kind of like navigating whether I'm like, am I gonna accept that for the way it is, or am I just being full of myself, saying it's perfect and I can't take criticism, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
a lot of pressure as well growing up in that
and just
kind of
being
mindset.
Like, whew.
Yeah. To me, the way I see that, Marie, is there's gotta be you gotta come up with an acceptable baseline, like with an acceptable minimum that you want to achieve, like a level of perfection, no? That you want to achieve, a minimum, a bare minimum. And also, I'm also a big fan of growth. Like,
exactly.
You need to monitor growth. If you see that there's some growth, then it means that you're moving forward. You're doing the right thing.
That means you'll never know yourself 100%. So that kind of mindset is like, how will you know yourself if you're growing up and if you're growing? You know, we'll never know ourselves up to 100% because we're constantly changing. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Mira, hay una Lucy. There's a movie from Scarlett Johansson.
I love it.
I'm in love with this movie and this girl and everything. But listen, that movie, I've watched that movie so many times because Lucy is the argument is the plot is this: we only use 10% of our brain, but they invent a drug that makes you reach 100% of your brain. That's the plot. and they do something to her so that she starts reaching those levels. Y se ve como ella va como dándose cuenta de todo, va como percibiendo la gente, lo que piensa,
Hablaba todos los idiomas.
aprende todos los idiomas. Allí no se mete, esa no la verías en tu curso, esa lo aprende en 2 minutos, cualquier lengua.
Sí.
Pero no sé, para mí es como si hubiera un superpoder, para mí eso sería superpower. You know this question they always ask you, hey, if you could be a superhero, what kind of superpower would you pick? I would pick that. Como being able to learn everything and retain everything extremely fast.
Yeah.
Porque claro, es que eso es otra. En el aprendizaje también hay límites, ¿no?
Claro.
There's always limits like that you can... Because hay como una cosa, ¿no? Que se llama the A+ theory. Is like, you know, this theory I think is from Noam Chomsky, a linguist, that says that you always need to shoot for A+. So you are A, but you want to reach for just one level up. Because if you reach for 2 or 3 levels up, it's going to be too far away for you to focus, to motivate yourself, and to keep going.
Yeah.
¿No? Entonces, y lo mismo para abajo. Si tú te metes, por ejemplo, en tu clase de inglés, ¿no? Con esta gente, a lo mejor tú dices, pero no me siento yo como que motivada porque no me veo como un surrounding que me motive. Entonces, pero si te encontraras en un nivel, a lo mejor justo que esté un poquito por encima tuya, te motivarías más, ¿sabes?
Claro. Es mejor ser la que menos saben en the room than be the smartest person.
En inglés no tenía eso, porque no teníamos como clases o niveles. Literalmente estaba en una clase de gente como... estaba el colegio, ¿sabes? Es como... Estaba con gente que hablaba inglés muy bien y entonces tenía que hablar inglés. No muy bien, pero tenía que hablar. Pero aquí es diferente, porque aquí hay niveles de español. Ahora estoy en B2 y creo que no lo merezco mucho, pero...
¿El B2? Bueno, no digas eso, hombre. Tú tienes que decir todo lo bueno para ti. El autoestima te la alimentas tú sola.
Si estaba en un... No, si estuviera...
Sí, muy bien.
Si estuviera en un nivel más bajo, no aprendería muchas cosas.
Sí.
Y ahora yo aprendo mucho en este nivel que no es lo mío, creo, pero es lo mejor para mejorar, para aprender más.
Mira, vamos a tocar un tema que a ti te gusta mucho, que he estado investigando un poco, que es este. Mira, a ver qué... Horses. I do know, because you brought it out the other week, that you almost became, you got into a course to become a professional.
Yeah, so I wanted to, and
you
then
wanted
my
to,
mom
yeah.
was like, no, the fuck you don't. So it was not like, oh, I almost did it, I took classes and stuff. I was thinking about it, because I'm the kind of person... I don't like doing things I have to think about too hard. Like it's my nightmare. And I was like, I like horses. I like being with horses. Why don't I make a career out of it? The issue is, and I think my mom knew that, and I knew that, but I didn't want to admit it, is that if I had gotten into that, I would have lost all interest for horses, and I would have hated it, because it's a lot of... You're literally taking care of an animal and teaching people how to ride that animal and how to take care of it, and it's just like...
Yeah, it loses the magic, it loses the whole thing.
I like riding horses as a hobby, and taking care of horses and being with horses, but it's a good thing that...
What is that? There was like a...
but it's a good thing that I didn't become like anything related to horses, I think.
Too much of everything can be stressful. Yeah.
It was really stressful.
Pues mira, pues justo por eso quería comentar unos pocos some interesting facts that I found about horses. Let's see, because I want to break it down with you to see if it's true, because I saw a few that I couldn't believe. For example, horses can vomit? Is that true? Horses?
It is true.
No pueden vomitar. O sea, porque tienen como que les bloquea, ¿no? Se bloquea, ¿no?
Es que como...
Quizá porque tiene la
tráquea, ¿no?
I don't know.
Esophagus.
If there's something stuck in there, you have to literally just get it down the throat, like.
Okay.
Because they won't they won't throw it up. They can
They can
poop
die.
it.
¿no?
They can die, but it doesn't happen often. Like it's.
Oh my
It
God.
doesn't.
Aquí. 600 breeds of horses.
Wow.
I know like 4 breeds of horses.
¿Tú, which breeds are your favorites? ¿Tú tienes como algunas top 4?
Well, that's gonna be complicated in English because I don't know the names of them.
Mira, dilos en francés y te lo saco yo. A ver si soy capaz. Yo no sé francés. Tú me tienes que ayudar, Nes, aquí, ¿eh?
Intentamos.
Frison.
El frisón es el fresita. No sé.
They're quite like chunky, big horses, and they have curly.
Ah, porque es
Frison.
ouais.
Ah, porque mira,
Sa-
es que tenía, a ver si hay alguno aquí, porque yo tenía uno que era
And
los...
usually they're used in movies and stuff because they're really majestic.
Yeah, because I have a list here of like the most popular ones. The Arabian,
Yeah, Arabians are really popular.
the thoroughbred, ¿no?
I have no idea what is that in French.
Este es como un para
it's the
horse
racing
races, the racing
Yeah,
horses,
it's,
right?
Yeah, looks
thoroughbred.
like a racing horse in the North
Yeah.
America.
Los racing horses. El
Appaloosa.
Appaloosa este.
That's like the Western type of horse, like the American cowboy type of horse. That's how I see it.
Morgan.
The Morgan is like the really majestic ones, like the ones that you
The
see walking
elegant,
around like
yeah.
this, tuk, 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 like that. Or what was the other one? Oh, the ponies.
Ponies.
Oh, you know the thing. Have you been to la feria? ¿Tú has estado en la feria?
No, siempre estoy fuera. Estuve en Francia.
Hostia, pues te gustaría, ¿eh? La
Sí,
feria,
sí,
uf,
ya sé, ya
la feria
sé.
es locura. O sea, feria es a week in the summertime, usually in August, in Málaga, where people go nuts. People go pierden la cabeza completamente, se van locos de la cabeza.
How?
How?
party.
They get drunk out of their minds, to start. Se emborrachan como locos, pero aparte
Hay mucha cultura también.
cultura, intercambio. Mira, de hecho, la población de Málaga population doubles in feria. O sea,
Sí, sí, sí.
so we are around 600,000 people. Usually it's 1.2, 1.3 million
Wow.
in feria.
That's a lot.
Literally doubles. Es una locura.
De hecho, no volví para la feria porque...
Por las pelas, ¿no?
No, era súper caro el vuelo.
El vuelo,
y
claro.
Volví la semana después, creo. No, era en septiembre. Volví, sí, en septiembre.
Pues
Ok.
conociéndote lo que te voy conociendo, Nesh, yo te digo que te encantaría la
Sí,
feria.
sí, ya sé,
porque
ya sé,
ahí
me
es
encantaría.
un cachondeo que no veas a la
¿Y
gente.
este año estás aquí para la
Creo que sí. Mi primera vez, porque después de la pandemia no hubo. En 2020 no hubo feria, tampoco en
Sí.
2021.
Sí, exacto. Una pena. Ah, pero porque lo he mencionado la feria es por los ponis, porque en feria hay una tradición que es que yo también, mi madre me lo hacía cuando when I was a kid, cuando yo era un niño, que nos montaban en ponis. Eran como a little thing, a little area full of ponies, y los tenían puestos como in a round thing, y era literally just a bunch of ponies walking around in a circle. Y a los niños, las madres en Málaga, hay como una tradición muy antigua de que te tienen que montar en el pony. Y yo, I rode ponies every year for up until I was maybe 10 or 11 years old. Y yo montaba en ponies. Esos son los pocos
guay.
caballos que yo he probado, los
Sí.
ponies.
Qué
pequeñitos?
guay.
Los mini ponies estos. Y sobre los facts, que hay unos que son súper raros, que son, por ejemplo, que... Oh, the oldest horse is 62. I didn't know the horses could live that long.
The horses, they live really long. Like, they're big, they're literally beasts. They,
Tú entiendo que los usabas de otra gente, ¿no? Porque tú tuviste tu propio horse, tú tenías your own horse.
it was kind of my horse, as in like I was the only one riding it, and I was gonna buy it, and then my coach sold it before I could buy it, so I never ended up buying that horse.
Claro.
But I had like a favorite horse that I was always riding when I was like maybe 14, 15, and it was like always that horse for a year or two, I think.
Wow.
I got really attached to it.
¿Y cómo se llamaba el caballo?
United.
United. Como el Manchester, ¿no?
And what breed?
I don't even remember the name in French. Shit. The cream horses. They have a freaking name, and I don't remember it.
But it was cream, no? Like the
it
color.
was a cream horse with like a white stain on the side. It was a really pretty horse, and the funny fact is that it was called United, and at the time I did not speak any English, so I had I made a drawing of it when it was born, because I saw it be born. It was really cute.
Really?
But I was really small. I was like maybe I don't know, I was 10 or 11. Or even younger than that, I don't remember. And so I did like a drawing, and I wrote its name, and it was like the way you would write it in French, which made no sense. It was like Y O U N I T. How did I write it? Creo, pero
Unite.
con un Y.
La Y, claro. You still keep the drawing? ¿Todavía mantienes el dibujo?
I don't think so, because I did it at my grandparents' house, so maybe they still have it. Probably not. It was ugly as fuck.
Yeah.
How about the hair? Like, what color was it?
Also cream.
Also cream.
Dark.
Sounds like a beautiful.
A mí la verdad me imponen los caballos, ¿eh? A mí I feel a lot of respect for horses because they can kill you with a kick.
It's really dangerous. Like
Wow.
There are a lot of friends. Me, no, because I don't know why it never happened to me. But I have a lot of friends who like fell down their horse, and it was like a freaking mess.
They can have almost 360-degree visual range, really?
Yeah, because they're
because on their sides,
so they
yeah.
see like that. They can see. The only part where they don't see clear is like
It's
in
the
front,
front.
right in front of them. If you stand in front of them, they won't see you.
Claro.
Like they will know that you're there, but.
Well, one thing is, one thing that people don't realize about horses is that up until 100 years ago, they literally were like the most common thing in the world. The most common animal in the world.
Yeah,
horses,
you use them to get around, to
to
travel,
go around.
transport.
Everything changed like in the early 20th century, in the 1910s, 1920s, when they started with the cars. But
Yeah.
before that,
I don't know when you started doing like jumping with horses and all that stuff. I have no idea.
what do you mean, like
When you started using horses more for like shows.
for shows and stuff?
Like
I bet that came out like in the 50s, because after the Second World War, I guess, because that's when like the whole TV show business and everything started out.
Became commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're pretty cool. I actually follow a guy, se llama The Animal Cracker. I don't know if you heard of this guy. He's an American YouTuber. Es a chiropractor. ¿Sabes? Los quiroprácticos. ¿Cómo se dice?
Chiropractor?
Chiropractors. Los
Like for the back?
fisioterapeutas.
Yeah.
Fisioterapeutas. Se llama Animal Cracker. Que me encanta porque hace... The guy is a chiropractor, but for animals. And he has a bunch of videos where he makes massages, and not massages, but like cracking bones and stuff for animals. And he has a bunch of videos with horses. But look at this, he makes like
Cute.
this kind of thing.
I think I've seen some of his videos.
Yeah, you did. You have. Yeah, I love this guy. I actually, I just watch them because they're so relaxing.
It's very tender.
These
So you wanna
videos.
start really soft.
You know, like
You don't have
he
to
started
work
like
that.
doing like.
The dog does not seem to enjoy it.
This thing, I mean, this is about video, but he's got a lot of cool videos where you can see like the dog doing stretching and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That must be really funny with cats, because cats are really stretchy. You just take them and then
Yeah.
And he's got a whole playlist with horses and stuff. Yeah, like you can literally, he's got videos with pigs. I'm not sure here. With pigs, dogs, cats, all kinds of stuff. I mean, one of the reasons why I love YouTube, this is why I'm addicted to YouTube. Because there's so much stuff going on YouTube. The other day we were watching about this, like online, the time we spend online. Porque como lo que se ha multiplicado, pero claro, cuando te ponen chiropractors that make massages for dogs and stuff, what can you expect,
Yeah.
Te enganchas a cualquier cosa, ¿eh? Vale, pues tenemos eso, ¿no? Sobre los horses. Después, volviendo a lo de los libros, Maggie, sobre el tema de los libros, tenía el tema preparado sobre el tema del Magical Realism, que como tú estás con la novela que tú tenías, que la otra vez como que no quedó muy claro lo que se refería con lo del Magical Realism. ¿Puedes explicarlo eso en español para que la gente no...?
Ok, veamos. No sé cómo se... El realismo mágico.
El realismo mágico.
El realismo mágico es cuando se puede poner elementos fantásticos en la vida normal, en la vida de...
O sea, sí, en el day to day, en la rutina, en la vida normal, en la vida del día a día.
Sí.
Del día a día, sí.
Todo eso.
O sea, es por ejemplo, mira, es como por coger, mira, te voy a poner un ejemplo, es como decir que una mujer llora chocolate y el chocolate de repente es un personaje en la historia, ¿no? O algo así.
Algo así, pero creo
O tener como a pet that is a unicorn.
for example.
Vale. Y después, pero puede vivir cosas normales, ¿no? De la problemática normal de la vida, ¿no?
Sí, claro. Como por ejemplo tener un trabajo, todo eso, pero con elementos fantásticos. Por ejemplo, no sé, el ejemplo que tengo es flores que nunca se
Marchitan,
por
sí.
ejemplo. Eso no es posible, pero es presente en esta vida que es una vida normal.
¿Y qué habilidad tienen tus personajes en tu libro que estás escribiendo ahora? ¿Tienen alguna habilidad especial?
Sí, porque mi personaje viaja mucho y entonces encontrar personas y situaciones en su vida en un mundo real que son un poquito raras.
Raras que tienen como cosas extraordinarias, habilidades extraordinarias o así.
Sí, totally. Like, can I give examples?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so for example, she gets at one point to a place where it's like it's all empty, and she's like, this place is really creepy. And then she gets to know that there used to be the ocean there, and it's called that place is called the MTC because it goes to, there's two sides to the MTC. It goes to one side or it goes to another side, but it comes back every year, and crossing it is like kind of impossible because there's the whole thing for the story. And so that's an element of magical realism.
Y claro, porque ella quiere cruzar al otro lado en busca de algo, pero nunca puede pasar de un lado a otro, ¿no?
Sí. And also the fact that the MTC exists, like the whole thing, because it's supposed to be there, and it's there sometimes. You don't really know when it's gonna come, when it's gonna leave.
¿Y representa algo ese MTC? O sea, es
no,
algo...
it was literally, I was just reading through my stuff, and I was like, this is so boring, because the point of the book is where she ends up and not what she's going through.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that if for it to be entertaining, there has to be some danger, and there has to be some questions, as in like, at this point of the story, you have to feel like she's not gonna make it, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like just changed the whole thing, and basically I took everything you could possibly cross when you travel, like a desert, an ocean, mountains, Locathea, whatever, and I just kind of like changed it into something magical.
Claro, para darle una cabida, para darle un sentido en la historia, ¿no?
But most of the time I get it from things that I've lived personally, and that I just like changed into something magical.
Okay, wow.
Like it can be people that I met, it can be situations that I've been in. For example, the example of the flowers that don't die, that's an example that I got from, it's gonna get really depressing. It's an example that I got from a cemetery, like where people go, they put flowers, and I don't know why I kind of had like this weird thought in my head that those flowers, they don't die because the person stayed there, and I don't really know how to explain it. It's just because you wouldn't be putting flowers on a grave if someone wasn't dead, and that's why it's just kind of always there.
Yeah.
So
the person is alive in the flowers, or the flowers are alive?
Well,
They're
you don't
always
really know
alive.
it. And
Okay.
the point of the story that I wrote, I started with those flowers that they grow on a grave. And so the person that sees them every day, and she realizes that they don't die, they don't wither. And she's like, that's not normal because I'm the only one that comes here. And those flowers never change. So maybe it's something. Maybe it's a sign that I'm getting. You see, maybe it means something.
Yeah. The thing that I like about magical realism is because they trigger emotions within you. Because sometimes, but they're not really, but they could vary from person to person. Porque, por ejemplo, si tú te lees una novela, ¿no? Descriptiva, realista, al final las emociones suelen ser estándar, ¿no? Porque te proporciona tristeza, venganza, odio, no sé qué. Pero cuando tú, when you start seeing these magical images, they trigger stuff and it could completely change. It could even change for myself, depending on the mood I am in on that day. Entonces, por eso a mí me gusta mucho el tema
Claro,
de...
porque depende de tu interpretación. Como no es algo real,
Exacto.
se puede interpretar de muchas maneras.
¿Tú lees, a ti te gusta la ciencia ficción o lees más
Leo más de
non-fiction?
psicología,
Psychology and
de
stuff.
self-help books.
Self-help
sí,
books,
sí.
okay.
Sí, pero esa cosa me interesa porque cómo funciona tu cerebro para poder
Es
pensar en
es
eso.
mágico, claro.
¿Sabes? Entonces...
Eso es creatividad, la creatividad, tía.
Sí, la creatividad.
Because I think it's just like the way you write. You have to find your own genre
Yeah.
and the thing that you're comfortable with. For example, I could never write, I don't know, like a thriller, because I can't. There's too many facts
Yeah.
that you have to think about, and it's too real for me. And what I'm trying to do with the books that I'm writing, because usually I write like really small stories or letters. I write a lot of letters, and that's where I got the story from, because there's like a bunch of letters in it. And I'm just trying to just get what I wrote in the letters out in paper, and I'm really bad at describing places, spending like pages like description, and even description of actions sometimes. And I'm more into descriptions of emotions. That's something that I know how to do, and that I know how to express.
Nice.
So I thought I'm just gonna, stick to that.
That's pretty cool. Actually, you just gave me an idea there. I think a cool topic could be the different types of intelligences, emotional intelligence, all that kind of stuff.
I love reading
Because
about that.
I can see you have. I think your emotional intelligence is really developed. That's why you come up with those ideas.
Yeah, the fact that you can write about different emotions and not
Yeah.
just describing something that you can actually see, because
Yeah,
emotions are
describing
abstract.
things that I see, I find it really. I'm like, there was a table. It was red. It was
But
big.
you leave that to the reader to
like
imagine.
I just it was a table, whatever color.
Yeah.
There was that on it.
No.
Like I don't know how to describe that.
That's a nicer way to leave like independence as well for your reader, because they can imagine it however they can.
Yeah, totally. It's what I'm trying to do, to get, because what I'm writing about, it's about loss and about death and about the way you deal with that with someone you lost, and it's different for everybody. And I think growing up, that's like in books, I always saw the same patterns. It's like you lose someone, then you meet someone else, you fall in love, life is beautiful, then you do something that ties you to the dead person, you sing a song, you do whatever, and then you just forget about it.
Yeah.
And I just was trying, because that's not how it works, but also that's my own
Perception.
experience. That's my own experience.
Exactly.
And I cannot just give to people a guide of how you deal with people's
Yeah.
death. So I don't know, I came up with that book because I really wanted to express that, and I really wanted young people, especially who deal with that kind of situation, to find that book and find in my book maybe, or whatever book, something that they can relate to.
And one thing, how do you describe, for you, what does the MTC look like? That it's interesting for me, because I have my own
image. The MTC
image.
to me looks like a nightmare. It's dried up. There's holes everywhere, crevasses.
Crevices, like holes?
Like holes, but in more like a line type of way.
Oh,
the things that you
caves, like a caves, cracks.
What the fuck? Cracks. And there's like some dead fish in it because when the sea goes.
So there's no water.
There's no water.
Grietas, en español,
I imagined
grietas.
it with like really dark water and.
The thing is that the empty sea, it's like you have see it this way. You have one world here, you have one world here. Here you have some kind of like gates, and the empty sea is either on one side, either on the other. And crossing the gates really hard. The sea stays here for a year, then it goes away, stay there for a year, then comes back. It's kind of like.
But there's no water ever.
There is water on one side or the other, and then that water transfers to the other side.
Okay.
And you don't really know actually if one day it's just gonna stop transferring. You don't know when it started. You don't know why it started.
And you don't know when
Maybe
it's gonna transfer.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
And the calendar for it changes because people kind of like realized that it was going to one side and then coming back, and they started like keeping track of it. And sometimes it's late, sometimes it's not, and you don't know when it's gonna stop coming, when it's gonna be late, when it's gonna be like all of that.
It's really interesting. Like, how did you come up with that?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. So you must have had an inspiration for.
Yeah, I think
that
everything I started with like she has to go through landscapes because it's she's traveling and it's not, and it's like you don't really know what time it is of like what time period. You don't know. You have no idea. If you don't know if it's in the future, if it's in the past, if it's right now. It's kind of like a small rincon somewhere.
Un rinconcito,
Just
little corner, no?
and so you don't know that. So you can't take a plane, you can't take a train, all of that. And also the place she's going to, it's like the land of the dead to get her best friend back. So you know that.
God.
You could write the next movie for the Lord of the Rings. That could be, or Harry Potter.
I've actually
Have you finished the book or not yet? This
No,
book?
I finished writing it. I have the last chapter, but I haven't finished. I'm like just past the MTC right now, so
Okay,
I have
I'd love to read it.
I have everything that happened before, and I have like a lot of other things that are gonna happen after. But I'm just trying to like through the book. It's kind of like also a process and like processing feelings about someone's death and how that leaves you and all of that.
And when did you start writing?
That one I started like a year ago, I would say, but I had the idea like a long time ago, and then I just like mixed up two stories that I had to make just one. It was a complicated process.
Yeah, that reminds me of this movie, Captain Fantastic, because of the concept of death, the way you are describing it, how it varies, because you wanted to come up with a different spin on the concept of death to describe it, to get away from the standard way of the way it's described in novels. Captain Fantastic, it's a pretty cool movie. It's this guy, he raises a bunch of kids of his own, but in the wild, like in a Swedish forest or whatever. But anyway, the wife dies. The wife dies in the beginning of the movie. So the thing is, these kids are raised in a really wild
environment,
right? But they're like wild. I mean, like completely with a set of values, really deep values. Like they are like the perfect citizen. Like they're smart. They know literature. They know different 8 languages. They know philosophy. They are really, really smart. Like way smarter than the average. European or American, let's say. But the thing is, she dies, and they say the wife tells him that when she died, they had to burn her, and the ashes they had to sing a song while they throw it on a toilet in a public bathroom. So they wanted to. She wanted death to be a fun thing to do for them, because she hated the idea of death being a sad situation. So it reminded me of that, like the way death is portrayed on movies and books sometimes, because it's true. It's always a funeral, everybody holding hand. The closest people are the ones that cry the most, and then everybody tries to portray the good things about the person, but it's really always the same, you know?
I think it depends on what the movie is about and whether you have room for grief in that movie. If it's like an action movie,
Yes,
someone
yeah.
dies,
No.
you don't
It's
care,
not a,
they
it's,
died, whatever. The character doesn't have time to grieve them because they have like so many things to get done. You know, they have to save the world, they have to, I don't know, whatever. So I think it really depends whether you make like a movie about death or a movie when you see death being portrayed. I think those are not the same thing because it depends if the character has room to grieve or not.
He did. There are a few scenes. I mean, the movie is half comedy, half drama. So it's pretty good. I recommend it. It's called Captain Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Because it's like he learns that he needs to respect his wife's last words. His what do you say? Death wish.
That's not Drew Barrymore, is it?
No,
It looks like Drew Barrymore, the woman.
No, she's not. This one is the guy from the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
I don't know. I remember his name. What's the Gortonson? I can't remember the last name. It's a Swedish guy. But this is pretty cool stuff. This is pretty cool. So it's 9:30. So if you're comfortable,
It's 9:30.
It's 9:30. Yeah. It's 9:30.
I'm taking the bus to get home, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you need can you get it? Do you need a ride? I mean, with an Uber or something?
I don't want to pay for an Uber because.
Okay.
I have my bike, so.
Okay, but you can still get it, no?
Yeah,
the bus, no?
I think I can get the bus. If I can't get the bus, then I don't know. I'll just take an Uber.
There's a metro.
I have no idea how to take that.
I'll show you. Don't worry.
Okay.
But I don't want to get home because I
Too
live
late,
like in
yeah.
Pedregalego.
Sure.
Arriba. It's really far.
Okay, no worries. Let me know if you get lost or anything. Just let me know, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get you there. Anyway, so thank you so much, girls,
Thank
for
you
coming.
for inviting
I really
us.
enjoyed it. This podcast.
Yeah, it was
It's
a fun.
a bunch of different stuff, and this one was especially a stream of consciousness because I usually jump in, with a set of topics. But this one we didn't cover as many topics, but it's good because
It's a lot, I think.
Yeah, we cover I think quite a few. But you guys gave me quite a few ideas for next podcast too.
Yeah.
Y nada, si tenéis alguna, sugerencias o lo que sea, ya sabéis que me puedes decir y se puede hacer para los siguientes podcasts y tal.
Vale.
Cosas que tú a lo mejor te interesen para ti, para profundizar o lo que sea. Y algún personaje que no se muera también para darlo para dar un toque más bright al podcast, pero hay que tocar de todo, un poco.
Sí.
Chicos, ya veis que aquí se puede aprender inglés, español, hablando de literalmente cualquier tema. Y francés. Porque la lengua está viva, los temas están vivos y cada día es una oportunidad para mejorar vuestro idioma. Ya sabéis, nos vemos en el próximo podcast, colega. Hasta luego.
Adiós.
Hasta luego.
Adiós.